Well. Welcome to First Touch, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here on Wednesday, March 6th, 2024. And we've just concluded a lot of regional events headed into the Copenhagen Major. But talk about it. I've got the usual crew: Dazrin, Roll Diz, and T Bates. Gentlemen, how we doing? How we feeling?
Woke up today on the right side of the bed. Got a bunch of things done this morning, and I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day to be alive. What we doing over there, Bates?
Man, it's been a cool day so far. Gonna be a long day. Got a lot of work to do. The first touch is always a great great midway point for the day. Lots of things to talk about. We have some excellent guests in the horizon. I also love that thumbnail that they use right there. Who made that thumbnail? Is that Sky? Shout out
Yeah, that's
Fatine if she
Sky.
made that. That's a fire thumbnail, man. That's great photos. That's great photos, man. Raul, doing what he does, looking like he about to go hit a Miami. Damar, about looking with Stacks trying real hard in the Dior suit. By the way, Chad, there's a Dior suit.
Yes.
Um, yeah, you're
I ain't
good.
fit the
Yeah.
vibe. I need to get a picture with me
And,
with a suit on.
but then my suit, of course, my suit's looking really, really great as well. It's not Dior, of course, but it looks really good. And if you feel it, you would think mine's more quality than the Mars, but that's a
That's
discussion
just
for a
not
different day.
true. That's just not true. That's
If
just not
that
true.
is true. You know how my suit feels. You know
Yeah,
how it is.
you know how mine is. It's not traditional at all.
It's not traditional, but mine feels better.
I don't know. This
Why is he looking
subjective.
for the suit?
This is
I'm not
subjective.
I'm not looking for the suit. I was trying to look for
Uh,
turn
He's
that
looking
on.
for the lights.
Yeah, I was trying
uh,
to turn that on, but yeah, it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a fun show today. We got some excellent guests. We actually just played some private matches with some of the guests on the new map. What's our thoughts on the new map? On the new map, what is that? Salty Shallows.
Salty shallow, Aquadome,
Dr.
salty
Shallow.
shallows. I like it. It's real cool, real smooth. Definitely cool to like play ranked in. There's a new map. Yes, the new season is out right now. Season 14, it's out right now on Rocket League. So if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. But yeah, I like it. There's a couple things that I feel like I would have wanted in there. Like the
Talk to me.
crowd. Definitely would have wanted the crowd kind of thing. I love crowd added effects added to the arena
Hmm.
because even it's just like also like if we're like listening to it on ROCS, it doesn't feel empty. It feels like okay, like it's part of the match, sort of speak. But besides that, yeah, no, I like it. I like it. What do you guys think?
I like it. I enjoy it as well. I think it's beautiful. Like the scenery is just, I don't know. There's like a calm vibe about being underwater for some reason. The aesthetic is nice. It's nice. It's very pleasing
Yeah.
to look at.
It's cool. It's cool. I like it. It's got great shading and coloring. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not an artistic type of person. I just know what I like, and it's a nice map. The green grass isn't necessarily all the way green. It's kind of got that, in my opinion, seaweedy color, and then outside,
Mhm.
it definitely has less going on than Aquadome, so you can feel it. Kind of feel like you're more in the
Yeah, I like the
underneath the
grass.
water.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's a nice little map. I'm with Demar though. Definitely needs a crowd. My opinion is that every single map that needs to come out should be RLCS eligible. I think that's easy promotion for every single map that the developers ultimately end up working on. 'Cause then it becomes more than just an addition to the game. It's become something that's constantly going to be out there in front of thousands upon thousands of people. Um, or hundreds of thousands of people. So that's why I think it needs crowd. It needs the ability to have the ads that we've been seeing. If it had those two things, I think it'd be a top 5 release in a while. But it's a pretty cool map, pretty calm, pretty chill.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Appreciate those are everybody's thoughts on that. Of course, chat. Keep it locked in. Now, chat, again, if you see me looking like this, that means I got the chat up. That means I'm reading what you're saying. Most likely. Sometimes I'm looking at other stuff. But
Oh, I just
you
realized what
guys,
you're wearing.
you guys have a great chat interaction. Oh, talk about this, the cloak of greatness. Yeah, I only bring
Ah
it out every once
man,
in a while. I only bring it out every once in a while.
I mean, yeah, listen,
I
you
ain't
ain't had
seen
many
that.
reasons to
Yeah,
bring it out. That's why.
that thing was in retirement for a minute.
I know, I know.
Retirement, it was just waiting for its
It
right
was getting
moment. You know what
dusty
I
in the
mean?
closet.
Is that what is this the right moment?
I feel like it could be. I feel like it could be. What up, Callo? I see you in the chat. JBP answers. Yeah, how about this? You got numbers in your name. That's a PR answer for you. Okay, now, chat, of course, like these guys are alluding to, yes, they're right. I'm dripped out, head to toe. GenG Mobile One Racing all day, every day. Now, why would I do that? Oh, because GenG denies the three-peat. My goodness gracious, it was a quality thing. Now, before we get into this, of course, I feel like this is a good time to be able to bring our guests in because we want to get their thoughts on a lot of stuff that's going on here as well. Joining us here on the show to kick things off is going to be the coach of G2, Satthew, and the coach of Luminosity, RawGreg. What's good, y'all?
The beard is gone.
Wait, where's the beard? Wait a second.
Change the
gotta
names.
go.
That is not Jordy and Johnny.
No, I shaved it as soon as we clinched. I told my team, I was like, I'm shaving the beard. It's got to go, guys. It's too much.
Wait, can y'all tell Magic Bear to shave whatever he got going on underneath here?
I thought he did.
Bro, I think he did, and I think he's bringing out the goatee soon.
Okay, I haven't
Yeah.
seen him, so hey, God bless. Thank you, Magic Bear.
Wait, why we get rid of the beard though? Say it again.
Dude, it had some bad juju on it, and I kept feeling like it was growing like super, super thick, and I was like, man, I just got to get rid of this. So I'm going to start fresh, and we're going to start from here up until the major. So it's coming back. It's coming back. It's just temporarily postponed. Yeah.
I've been there. Thankfully, they probably won't get on you as much as they got on me. They call me the kid, the shaver, and all that other stuff. So
The shaver.
Hey, Greg don't look like a
shaver
kid.
is
He's
nice.
still a grown man.
yeah,
But he look way younger though. Greg
He
with the beard,
does.
man. Greg with the beard looks like he been hiking around the world, all across the world. I mean, you know, just he got so much wisdom. He looks like he's about like 42 or something. It looks like a grown man. But now,
42.
now,
Oh,
Greg, I see you about the beard, man. I don't know.
Bro.
You might pass for 23. You could pass for 23 with the hat on at least right now.
Yeah.
Is that
Is that a
good thing or a
Guardians
bad
hat?
thing?
Put it like this. I'm not taking the hat off.
Is that a Cleveland hat? Is that a Guardians hat?
You already know. You already know.
Oh,
You got
God.
big Matt over there, man. Matt, of course, never has the beard. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good, Bates. Hope y'all are doing well too. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. Appreciate having y'all on. Now let's talk about GenG. Can we pull the bracket up, please? Let's
I
do
haven't
it.
heard him this hype. Like,
Oh
like,
my
calm down.
God.
Why not come on this episode,
I
man?
know.
I used to
say that.
But times like this, baby boy. This is NA Open Qual 3. We don't have the Swiss for you, but if you guys saw the Swiss GenG, they played G2 twice. They played it once in the Swiss, and when they're 1-5, and then they played here in the grand finals where they won also in 5. Oh no, that's 5. Okay, hold on, math. Can we roll the highlights, please? I mean, I know how I feel, but let's talk about it. GenG versus G2. I mean, I don't even know where to start first. Ro, how do you feel about this, man?
Wait, you gonna ask me and not the?
We're gonna get to the coach, but I gotta hear the roll this propaganda.
Well, okay. Honestly, I was surprised. I was surprised. I was taken back. It looked like GenG was a completely new roster this weekend. We haven't seen anything of this caliber from GenG, in my opinion. I think this is the first time they showed that they can actually compete against a team like G2.
That's a good point.
And it proved that G2 actually have weaknesses that they need to work on. And we're leaving it up to the fantastic coach of Satthew to make sure that all of that is handled by the next time they play each other.
I mean, Matt, like, what were your thoughts? I mean, as the series went on, like, just kind of give me what was going on from your guys' perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you had seen, I think, on Friday and Saturday, a little bit of a weaker G2 than the first two regionals. Some of that can be attributed to maybe some complacency. You know, it's hard to stay, you know, winning all the time. So, you know, it was a tough week of prep. It was, you know, trying to figure out the motivation for each practice day, trying to get ready for, you know, teams like this that are, you know, searching for this first regional win. So it was tough. I think we found a lot better form on Sunday, but you know, GenG were great, and we just couldn't stand up to them on the day. So a lot of stuff to work on, but I'm still happy with just kind of the bounce back after kind of a slower Friday and Saturday.
Hold on, we gotta take a look at
Yeah.
At this play.
Eventually, our
Okay.
comms video will come out for that, but yeah, we were all screaming when that happened. That was crazy.
Yeah, look at it again. Give me the replay.
This is one of the nicest goals I've ever seen in RLCS, like easily.
There's
Definitely
been a
wanna
lot of talk about
that.
this shot.
Yeah, we'll talk about that shot a little bit later. Bates, I hear you again. You know, getting some noise in there. I mean, thoughts on this matchup when you saw it?
It was cool. It was a good matchup, man. It's good to see GenG play well, bro. That's all. I was just happy for GenG, man. Happy for GenG. They definitely have made a lot of adjustments, a lot of changes to their game style. I even felt like they played at least distinctly, it looked even more differently between Friday and Sunday. I don't know what you thought about that map, but on Friday, I thought they played y'all much more. They're more bump heavy. They're much more in line with that. On Sunday, they didn't necessarily go for that as much, but they were still, their defense was just on point. They weren't making any rotational errors. They were making it to where G2 had to work for every single little inch they wanted to take on the field, and every single touch was getting contested. The adjustments have been made. I think they've unlocked FK more so. He definitely feels comfortable. Is either that or he just had a better weekend. It's one of the two. I'm gonna say it's probably a combination of both. And Abjack and Chronic were both doing their thing as well. It was good to see GenG actually go up against this G2 squad as we expected. I think 4 of those games were 1-goal games, or at least 4 of those games went to overtime. So it's not like it was a big gap or something in the gameplay. It was just the little minute differences, and that's what ended up happening. But it's nice to see, because I think it bodes well for NA coming Copenhagen, because now GenG, they're back on, they've been
100%.
getting better and better. OG's playing really good. OG looked like they could have even beaten GenG the series prior to that. And then you got Luminosity where Greg, the longer his beard grows, I guess the better they're gonna get. I think that's the rationale that we're doing with that. So, I mean, we got 4 great teams coming out of NA right now going to Copenhagen. I was content. I wasn't mad with the result.
Oh man, that's valid. I mean, Greg, you end up seeing that kind of match go down. Obviously, you guys had clinched by then, but still being able to watch the final, seeing GenG's improvement. I mean, do you kind of take note of that as teams are starting to get ready for Copenhagen? Like, is that like a good sign for you?
I think it's a good sign for NA. I mean, you mean good sign for Luminosity?
Well,
No,
okay.
No, go on. What were you gonna say?
No. I was definitely gonna say NA for sure. What that?
Like I was telling Satthew earlier, like I think that G2 and us had a wake up call. And I think GenG and OG now have momentum, which is, I think, important for the region too. Because GenG, like we needed our second best team to have a little bit of momentum. But I think that G2 definitely had a wake up call. Even Friday, Saturday, they had a wake up call. And then, obviously us, we were round 5 and we didn't beat anybody. So we had a wake up call as well. And I think that even in the preparation going into the weekend, I didn't prepare the guys well at all. And I take a little bit of responsibility for the way that we came out. We were lethargic, I think. And we were playing safe because we knew it was on the line. Nerves were on the line. And I thought we played not Luminosity ball. So knowing that information now, I know what we have to do going into the major to fix it.
Okay, that's definitely some solid stuff. Is GenG better than G2?
I mean, y'all
Who
know
you
my
asking?
answer.
Y'all smiling right now. I need some answers.
Who's
I
going
just love
on?
being put on the spot like that. No.
Okay, Raul,
No.
base.
You already know what I'm gonna say, man. Like, it's obvious. I want to know if you gonna try to put it up. Also, Raul had
Yeah.
the interesting tweet about FaZe G2 thing. Talk a little bit about FT After Dark. I don't know if Raul wants to talk about that. 'Cause I was actually interested in how Raul said that he doesn't think that GenG's better than him. I thought you might think that GenG's better than him right now.
I thought GenG played better than them, yes, but me saying they're an upgraded phase is not disrespect. I think everybody's taking it as disrespectful that
I
I'm
took it as
comparing them
disrespectful. I
to.
was like, what's
I was
Raul
just gonna
saying,
say
bro?
Yeah, I think they're taking it as disrespect that I'm saying that they're an upgraded phase. But if we go back and remember what was spoken about that phase roster, there are 3 of the top 5 talents that North
Yeah.
America had.
Yep.
Three of the most mechanical players that North America had at the time, combining together, high expectations, high ceiling. But the problem with them was their chemistry, specifically defensively, and they always got fumbled defensively. And that's what we saw from G2. And not saying that it can't be fixed. Like that old phase roster, it could have been fixed. I'm not saying that this G2 roster cannot fix their mistakes, but they look like phase to me. The way they play, the potential that they have, they look like phase. Upgraded.
There we go. Okay. Now answer the question. Not a chance. G2 is still clear, no one, bro.
I don't know about clear, but what I will say, I'll say this. I'll say that weekend, GenG was better. It wasn't a really good weekend for G2. They were number 1 in defense going into the 3rd regional, finished Swiss. Last in save percentage. They let in 33% of shots. It wasn't really looking too solid from them. You could definitely tell it was an off weekend. So I'll give it to them. I'll give it to G2. And it would have been, I think it would have been more nice to see probably even G2. Because, like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have GenG win here, or would you rather have G2 with the 3-peat going into the major?
I think
I mean,
Satthew wants G2,
I
but
mean,
I think,
I
well, we-
rather would have had
yeah.
G2 3-peat. Now that's what I would have had. I think it would have been nice. Gives me a little cause for pause over here that Matt's talking about how they lack motivation. Cause listen, when I'm winning, I got all the motivation in the world. What do you mean? What, lack motivation? Nobody can touch me. I'm dominating. But I understand they a little bit younger, I guess. So
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't even fully say like lack of motivation. It's just like, you know, the urgency to do everything exactly right in scrims goes down,
Yeah.
and just like you lose some of that polish, I think. And we just lost that polish, me included. We lost that polish during the week, and it fed into Friday and Saturday. So these guys are motivated. They're ready to win.
All
It's
right,
just
good.
it's a learning experience.
Good. They need to stay motivated to win. They got Europeans that need to be challenged. At
Yeah,
least.
yeah,
At
definitely,
least.
definitely. Yeah.
And no offense to Satthew, but it is better than GenG won, I think.
Talk to me.
yeah.
Because it's important to showcase that we have more than one team that can go into the major. I mean, obviously nothing matters in our regionals because Europe is always going to say that until we do it at the major, you know. But as far as like actual performance, GenG looked really, really good. And it looked like they could actually, because, you know, us and NA look at G2 as like the standard, right? You're like, oh, if we could beat G2, then you're in a good spot. The fact that GenG did it shows that they should be able to answer some of these European teams as well.
Yo, I'm in mind with that. I'm in mind with that.
So you
So
didn't answer the question.
I did. You didn't listen to me answer the question. That's on you.
Wait,
All right.
I didn't hear it either. Hold on, you got to repeat it. Put it one time, quick.
Okay, I said they're better than them right like that weekend. But if they played again, I would assume G2 would win.
Okay.
So you think G2 is better?
Yeah, but it's not a big.
So you might as well
big
just
enough
take all
gap.
that GenG merch off.
Nah, I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna keep it on.
But you
Because,
fraudulent,
like you
though.
said,
don't
it's
even believe in
not-
the squad like that.
I do believe in the squad.
But you say it's that close.
It is close.
You
But I
think
would
they
expect-
can be better than them through the rest of the season does?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Who you got more confidence in going to the major?
My team,
Okay, so how you have more confidence in GenG, but you think G2's better?
because who says they're gonna play head to head? That match in the bracket. It's a big major, Swiss.
Oh, so
getting
you got
cross
more
that bridge when we
confidence
get to it.
with GenG against EU than G2 against EU?
I guess, yeah, slightly.
Well, then that would mean GenG is better.
GenG's better then.
Are you all done?
Well, we're trying to get
Yeah,
the
no,
logic.
yeah, okay, Mark Phillips, like we get
We're
it.
trying to
like,
get the logic from you, bro. Like it's not making sense. Make it make sense.
Listen, man,
Bro.
I'm just following the chain, bro. I'm
all right,
just following
follow
the chain, man.
as much as you want to. Okay, can you follow the chain of the script? We're on the next topic.
My
All
bad.
right, listen, we all
Alright.
we all can have our agreements and disagreements on teams, but we need to come to a consensus here because this has been a hotly debated topic in the community, and we need to figure this out because I didn't expect this to get debated that much when we initially had this. I didn't even have this down, but I was looking on Twitter, and there's just so much talk about this goal. Can we pull up the tweet? First things first, we got the one from RawGreg Labs. This is the one I noticed the most here. RLCS viewers really need to check on what they need a reality check on what an insane goal is. Good shot by Daniel. Not at all spectacular in any way, shape,
Oh my.
or form.
That's,
Wow.
Nah, that's gotta be. That's gotta be sarcasm. That's gotta be sarcasm.
That's got it. Nah, that's
gotta
a
be
little
sarcasm.
ridiculous.
Who is this? Who
Like,
gave me
I-
Twitter?
I get riding the fence, but I don't know what this guy's doing.
Nah, that's gotta be
This guy's
sarcasm. I'm
on
just
another
trying to be
level.
different. Of a doubt. That's sarcasm. Gotta be.
All right, and of course, there's polarizing opinions. Rettle said that Daniel goal is probably the best I've ever seen in RLCS. And then if we have one more, we could go to Stumpy, which was the next one. That genuinely might be one of the greatest RLCS goals I've ever seen.
What
Oh
is
my
this
god!
lineup of tweets? We got
I know,
Rostermania
this is
and
nice.
Rocket Lab.
RawGreg Labs.
Well, like I said,
I
the
like
RawGreg
that.
Labs way had a lot of engagement.
Really? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of engagement. But also, if you
Oh,
look
yeah.
at both of those tweets from Rettles and from Stumpy in the comments, are a lot of people. There are people disagreeing in the
Yeah.
comments. There's like a bunch of back and forth action. You can go obviously check those guys out on Twitter if you guys want to. So we need to talk about it. All of us. We got some views here of the Daniel goal. Let's take a look at that. While we do, I mean, talk to me.
Wow.
Raul, you talk to me, man. Like, well, like what's up with this? Like, break this down on why this was so great, if you even think it was.
I mean, I think it was a fantastic goal. I mean, the heat of the moment, you got to think about a game 3 OT grand finals. Your team's down 2 games into the series. Daniel dodging a bump, pops it over. He's dodging a bump from Abjack, uses a pre-flip, keeps the control of the ball, has enough boost. Chronic is not expecting him to do this. Now, granted, I think the biggest argument against this is that Chronic should be challenging. Somebody from EU would challenge, but in the mindset of Chronic in that certain moment, he's not thinking Daniel has all these touches coming down to his net. So it's just so creative by Daniel with the amount of space that he was given to just take advantage of it, and GenG was not expecting it.
I think, Greg, I mean, how did you feel when you first saw it? We didn't.
I mean, to be fair, Chronic thinks he's coming down. Like Daniel's going up, and then it looks like he's like stagnated. But then Chronic's like, he surely has to come down, and then that last flip just destroys him. You're right. Chronic could have challenged it maybe, but I don't know if he didn't know where Abjack was or if he thought he was last back. But I think he just thought he was coming down, and he just never came down. So that's what's crazy about that goal. It's so creative and so like spontaneous that's what makes that goal insane. Is it the greatest RLCS goal I've ever seen? I mean, it's good. It's definitely good.
Bates?
Yes, sir.
I mean, how do you feel about the Daniel? I mean, I kind of know how the G2 boys feel over there to the right. Satthew already said they blew up in the comms and things like that.
Yeah, you can see Matt's camera after on the stream. Man, look like he's in disbelief.
I was tripping. That was special. That was a special moment.
Was Daniel's goal the best of all time? I think that. I mean,
in RLCS,
it depends. In terms of in terms of mechanical brilliance, yes, and I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. I've never seen a goal like that. I talked a little bit on FT After Dark. I said.
Yeah, they can't hear you.
Sounds like you're muted.
The whole chat is saying you're muted.
Bates is saying impossible.
All right. Bates soliloquy is cut short.
See you later, Bates.
Unbelievable.
He said he's coming back. He says he's coming back. Hold on.
Right.
Wayfuck says silence and the truth in all caps.
Whatever he wanted to say, it was not meant to be said. It was not meant to be
We're
said.
watching real-time propaganda. That's crazy.
Real-time propaganda is crazy. Listen, I didn't do them, okay? It wasn't me. All right, while he figures that out, best goal of all time. This has definitely been debated. I think I see there. Oh my God, there were a couple people who were saying in the chat. I know Johnny said it wasn't the greatest RLCS goal of all time. There were some people who were saying that other goals were better. Someone said Seiko's double tap against Liquid. Someone saying Cuxer pinch. I mean, of all time is the question. Matt, I see you with the squint in your eyes. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I would need to look at like obviously like a list of like some of them, but I mean, if it's if it's just a Cuxer pinch or if it's just a double tap, and no matter the angle, it's probably not going to outdo that shot. It's got to be something a bit more special. But
it's the moment though, too, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you talk about like the best goal of all time, how important is it? What was it in the series? Like, you know, if we're talking about NA Regional 3, a crazy mechanical goal, yeah, it's good. Like as far as mechanics go, but you know, you can't beat like Justin's shot or that's tough, dude.
Yeah. It definitely comes down to the importance and the circumstance that the goal is hit in. I think this mechanically is a top goal, and especially has like everybody's heads turned in the moment. So that has to quantify it to be considered a top goal. Like nobody was expecting Daniel. Even as a viewer, I wasn't expecting Daniel to hit that, casually watching, and then he hits it, and I'm like, okay, what did I just witness? I have to watch the replay, and I was hoping they show the replay like 3 more times so I could see exactly what he did. But I think as importance of a shot that was, there are other important shots that happened, specifically on land, like Greg said, Justin's shot and Squishy's shot in his World Championship run, him actually having that ceiling shot, the creation of a ceiling shot in general. Like there's just a lot of goals that you can point on. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's insane.
All right, man, I'm back.
All right, dude.
I'm back and I'm about to give everybody my soliloquy. See, that annoyed me so much that I had to stand up. I went on such a good, beautiful portrayal and execution of words right there, and I don't think I could do that again. But I'm gonna try. Let me tell you something. In terms of the goal being the best of all time, I think you got to quantify it. Is it the best mechanical goal of all time? I think it is, bar none. I don't think anything else is touching it. I talked about it on First Touch After Dark. I said that the TAS program, like the TAS program, that's what Daniel achieved for like 5 seconds. So Greg made a face when I said that earlier that y'all couldn't hear, and I'll explain why. Because Daniel messed up the first touch, but then after that, he reversed, turned 90 degrees, pre-flipped into it, got over first killer, kept on air dribbling, 0 boost reset with the scoop over Chronic, who's one of the best defenders in the game, man. I mean, you just haven't seen that. You just haven't seen that. Now, in terms of the moment, there's goals that have been more important. I mean, they're in the world, they're in World's Finals or something like that. But in terms of just the degree of the goal, I mean, it's harder than a psycho. I was talking about FTAD. I said if you give Daniel 100 attempts at a psycho or 100 attempts to do what he did right there, I think he's got to have a higher chance to do a psycho. He's got to have a higher percentage on the psycho than he is on pulling that off. And that's my estimation. And if you if you could do that, and that's harder than the psycho, I think that reaches a stratosphere that is almost untouched. I never really stand up when I'm watching Rocket League, but that got me on my seat. I said, wow. I said, okay, we in a series now. And then they ended up losing anyways.
Yeah. There's a couple of things. Sorry, there's a couple of things that I feel like. Oh, wow. Johnny says there's no way this is the most mechanical goal of all time.
Johnny, I dare you to find another goal then. Don't come, Johnny, I dare you to go find a goal then. Go find a goal that's as impressive as that against 3 great defenders like that.
I love how when Johnny's not even on FT, he's on FT because every chat he has.
No, I'm asking, but I want to see the Twitter clip. I want to see a Twitter clip against a team on the caliber on par with GenG. I'm expecting even from Johnny Boy's list that he certainly has moved GenG up his rankings. Is either that or he just moved G2 down. So,
in like a threes context as well.
Exactly. In a threes context, not ones or twos.
Oh, he's saying that Pan Psycho?
Yeah.
And
I think he's talking about the Pan Psycho.
Oh, and the Drawley one off his own corner.
The Drawley Psycho. Wait, didn't somebody almost do that this past weekend in NA? Didn't somebody almost come up the corner? It might not have been on target, but I mean, it was close. Like that's an easier shot. These players can go for what Drawley went for much more consistently than they can go for a pre-flip, jump over one, air dribble, no low boost reset over 2. Like
it was the adaptability of it, though. You know what I mean? Like it was the creativity that you're right. He messed up his first touch, but then he realized like he just kept improving the entire way through. Like it almost seems like sometimes a psycho or all this stuff is like you do it and you know you're about to psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
Daniel's goal was so creative. Like it was actually a freestyle goal.
That's what was
impressive about it.
I think you can argue Pan Psycho, but we are in all caps not putting Drawley shot on the same level as Dan.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
Johnny says someone make a training pack. Look, I like the goal. I definitely think it's one that you look at goals of the season, you have to put it in there. I think you do. In terms, I don't know why people are so up in arms about it, to be honest. Like no one really, like people are saying this is one of the best goals. I don't know, even in those tweets we said, they said it might be one like the best goal they've ever seen. Not 100% sure, but for some reason that's a problem with people. And I'm like,
why are we trying to throw hands over this? I don't get it. Like we said, like, is it one of the best goals of all time? We're like, yeah, and somebody's like, absolutely not. Why not?
It's because Daniel did it. Because NA team did it. If somebody from EU did it, it wouldn't be a problem. And listen, I haven't even thrown the EU in a fire on there. I've actually been taking a back seat. I've been watching it. I've been watching the fire maintain and keep on growing. I don't build fire, so I don't know the words for that. But the point I'm making is that that's just what's going on right here. People just think NA just is terrible. Which I mean, if you think NA's not that good, then that's fine, I guess. I mean, I guess you have rationale in that NA hasn't won in a while, but I think the fact that it is Daniel, I think plays in a factor because I think a lot of people were saying Daniel's not as good as we think he is, and also that it's an NA, nobody challenged the ball, and I think it was just glaringly apparent that Chronic didn't challenge the ball, so then they automatically then associate that to EU saying they would have challenged right there. They're challenging that. which maybe they do.
mean,
But
When did
I would
that
say they
start,
don't.
guys? When did that start?
And I don't know. Like again, Chronic was
When
playing
did
it
that
as he was
start?
third. Chronic saw both of his teammates get beat. You play it as third. Like that in EU, they play that as third too. They wait.
Yeah, I just don't
if you
think
play as
anybody
last, you
challenges
have
that.
to sit back.
I don't
Obviously,
think
it's
anybody
like
challenges that, man.
yeah.
And that's coming. Listen, I just want to put the resumes out there because people say we don't know ball. Satthew, coach, but which Heisman, Matt also has won RLCS games. RLCS
Talking about MMR.
I mean,
he's a
Heisman
professional
MMR
player.
Heisman matters, professional player. Greg has been really great in ranked.
He starts shaking his head.
They're trying to gas us up.
I know.
Greg's been really great. Greg, you've hit 2K before in ranked, and you know the game. Greg's hit 2K in ranked. Raul, of course, former professional for multiple teams. Also used to be like top 50 in twos all the time. Demar, I think he's got SSL a couple times. Why you looking at me like that?
Like he does this all the time. Like he always talks about race, and he gets to me is like, bro, I've been watching the game for forever, bro.
I know,
like,
yeah. And then that man,
I watched everybody get to where they
bro.
were going, man.
That man knows the game, man. And then myself, man. Listen, I think the resume speaks for itself, man. You know what I brought to the table.
What did you bring?
No. Talk about
did you
you.
bring?
Yeah.
It's in the resume.
I mean, you want me to give him the
speaks for
resume?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, you'll probably see her for like 10 minutes, man.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to get the resume, man. You know what I did, man. I be the organization so bad they're not even seeing no more. That's all I gotta say.
Oh dear Lord.
Dear
That was
Lord
actually like
is
3
right,
years
bro.
ago. But yeah, it was just a great goal, man. I do think that's the case. I think the fact that it was NA did it, Daniel did it, and also that the fact that it was so apparent that Chronic didn't go, that people are all up in arms about it, and they're kind of like taken away from the magnitude of it. Because the goal was great. It really doesn't matter who did it. It doesn't matter. Like if it happened in Sam, no matter region, like that was an insane goal. I've never seen that before. And that's hard. And that's hard to say in 2024 Rocket League that you've never seen something before. But I mean, it was just different.
And calling it anything short of spectacular, that's still crazy. That's like way too contrarian. That's got to be just like I want to be a differing opinion.
Yeah, you're just trying to be different, yo.
Come on, like what are we doing? It had engagement because I'm sure people are like, "What are you saying?" So.
Yeah, exactly. No one, Johnny says, no one is saying it isn't a great goal, LMAO. People are just saying it's not the greatest. No, we literally just put up a tweet saying that someone said that people need a reality check, that it's not a great goal.
But I'm hoping that tweet is sarcasm though. What are you saying, Matt?
Well, no, just I mean, all the tweets we saw that were like, backing it were both were like probably or maybe. And in this discussion, we're saying maybe. I don't think you can confidently say necessarily like a pan goal. I don't think you can confidently get everyone to agree that that's better because people value different parts of the game. Yeah. And I think both are completely fine to be in discussion.
Yeah.
But come on. Just throwing hands over nothing.
That's how it feels, man. But, we can talk about, everybody can talk about the goal, give their thoughts on if they think it was the most mechanical goal. Bates right now is saying that to him, it's the most mechanical goal of all time. So if there's something you want to debate, you can debate that. But I think most people are in line. Like it's a really good goal. Definitely one of the goals of the season. And who knows? Maybe we see Dan hit that on land or something similar to that on land, and then maybe change the narrative of the conversation.
If Dan hits that on land, it's a different conversation.
Yeah. Because goals like that are way harder to come by on land. Everyone's, the ability drops a little bit when everyone's in person. So
yeah. So speaking of land, we need to talk about the last NA qualifier and how there was a race for the land spots. 15 teams fought for 3 spots. Even though GenG was really high on points, they still needed to make it to that last stage of Swiss. Otherwise, they were not going to make Copenhagen. Let's take a look at the standings going in to the event. This is how close the race was. Dignitas was in the lead by 13 points. You see everybody with the 12s there from M80OG Pirates, SSG. You had NRG at 11, Rebellion at 10, but everybody was basically in the running. No one was safe except G2 Stride, and things really started to shake up as the weekend played out. But we all know who made it: Luminosity and OG Esports. Greg, for you as a person who was involved in this, you were sitting at that 3rd place spot, but you knew it wasn't safe. Talk to me about how the weekend played out as we start to play some highlights between LG and OG.
Oh man, what a series. No, we didn't play our game the right way. But I think everybody on our team knows that. And like I said, like I was telling you guys earlier, the preparation I thought I failed my team on a little bit, just because we were nervous. I could tell that we were nervous. So I went into it thinking like, hey, if we get a good placement, then we're going to make the major. And that's what we want to do. We want to get to the major and then show out there. But the Swiss was horrible for us. Like, I mean, we were game 5 with teams that we should not have been game 5. Like, no offense to them. But I'm happy that we qualified for the major, because, again, that's resilience to even make it through those rounds, because top 8 is not guaranteed. You see, like, Dignitas doesn't make it a couple times. Shopify doesn't make it. NRG doesn't make it a couple times. Like, getting top 8 3 times is still extremely difficult to do, but would I have liked to done better in the bracket? Absolutely.
I mean, but describe to me like how you were feeling as the matches were playing out. Like, surely there was like so many nerves in play.
You talking about like after we were done? No,
I mean like from when you started Friday.
Oh yeah, I mean it was nervy. Everybody was on edge, and I think that like you go into it thinking like, oh, it's not that bad, but as soon as those first series start kicking in, you start realizing what's on the line, and I could tell that my team was a little bit on edge. I think Reddles did a good job of trying to keep them in line, but Cheese and MB definitely had some nerves to them. But as it was going on and we started getting later and later into the rounds, because I think when we lost to Omelet, it started becoming very, very apparent that like, hey, this is not guaranteed. Okay. And then when we ended up playing Boulevard, again, Boulevard played us extremely, extremely tough. Like a style that, you don't see a lot of these bubble teams play. And we struggled with it for sure. So as that was going on too, like we needed a game 4 speech and a half from me and Reddles to figure out what was going to happen in that game 5, because it was nervy. And you guys ended up still qualifying, but I think there was definitely some help needed, right? There was like eyes on that TSM G2 series, yep, and also the GenG OG. Which one was like more important, or was it like both of them on the same level? Well, we knew that like regardless, like we could have finished like, I think it was like 17 through 32, as long as like GenG or G2 made the finals. So we knew that like even going into like after we lost to Luminosity, as long as GenG or G2 was in the finals, we were going to be good. And then at that point, when we made top 8, we knew that we were guaranteed a tiebreaker as long as Dignitas didn't make it. And because Dignitas didn't make it, okay, the only way that could have like, we would have been in the tiebreaker for Major at that point, I think was like TSM versus OG, TSM wins. And then at that point, I think we would have been tied with OG, and then winner goes to the Major. But besides that, I mean, we were sitting in a good spot, but you're still nervous because you never know what can happen. Like you can look at the Omelet G2 series, you can look at the TSM M80 series, where like you really, really don't know what's going to happen on that Saturday. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Matt, for your team, could you tell just from maybe not your team specifically, because you already spoken on your team's mindset going in, but just like from playing other teams, could you feel like the nerves of the regional in play?
Yeah, definitely. Playing and watching throughout the entirety of the weekend. I think I felt a little bit in the Omelet series, and watching, like, for example, like TSM M80, like M80 definitely looked like they were being affected heavily by it, because that was such a big series for both teams, because TSM still had some life to even potentially make the Major, and M80 was obviously in great running and great position to do so. We felt like there was a lot of nerves in a lot of the teams we were playing against. It wasn't like, especially Friday, Saturday, it was not a pretty day for NA. I think the Rocket League definitely stepped up by Sunday. And that's usually how it is with a lot of the regionals. Swiss, honestly, throughout all 3 regionals is usually pretty nerve-wracking, because it means a lot. That difference between, finishing below top 8 and then vice versa is huge. The pressure's huge.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably magnified even more during Regional 3, and you could see it in the performance.
I've heard you on that. Now that we have our 4 teams, question to the room: is NA sending their best teams to the Major?
Yeah.
Let's pull up the current standings right now for those of you who haven't seen those. Teams like Space Station Gaming, Dignitas, M80, Rebellion all miss out on the majors. You can see G2 Stride, GenG Mobile 1, Luminosity, and OG are those 4 teams. I saw Greg roll his eyes. Greg, we'll get to you in a second. Ro, what do you think about this lineup?
I really like the lineup. I know a lot of people are wanting Space Station to kind of fill out that 4th spot, but yeah, they ran into some tough teams during the bracket, but that's a result of them struggling through Swiss. So I really do like the bounce back from OG. I think they really deserve this. Their bounce back was incredible. Everybody counted them out after their performance in the first qualifiers. Leading into the second qualifiers, they were almost in another 0-3 position, but then they bounced back and reverse sweep the Swiss stage and then bring themselves back into a major playing performance and ultimately make the major. It just shows the testaments of them 3 players to the grit, the grind that they had, and the faith within one another as a team to just come out on top. But yeah, I think NA is standing the most informed top 4 right now that we have.
I want to know what Demar had to say about this.
Yeah, right. Because I didn't have OG. I had SSG in there. For me, I think it came down to, again, how the matches played out. But the biggest thing about SSG is they got GenG 3 times, and the results were the same. And if we talk about how we talked about GenG and G2 earlier, where we thought, okay, GenG playing close to G2 was good for NA because it means going into the major, like there's that level of competition that they're trading at least a little bit. Then on that same level, that's why I would put OG. Like I'm more okay with OG because yes, OG definitely had a rough start, but ever since then they started playing better and better. They had matchups where you take Luminosity, for example, in event 2, Luminosity beat them handily in the bracket. Then they come back around. You can see that they made adjustments, but that also, just from hearing Greg kind of talk about the matchups there, that means Luminosity, they have things to work on too. They're going to start improving. They're going to get better as well. I was okay already with those 3, but now seeing, Luminosity playing close with G2, OG playing close with Luminosity, GenG playing close with G2, and G2 just being the best, I feel like I'm happy with this overall because just knowing that, like for me, if SSG would have took one of those series off of GenG, then I might have had a little bit more of a conversation there where maybe, but you have to, if you want to compete at these major events, we've had so many times where NA 5th seed goes in and they just get slapped. But now it's like, okay, the top 4 actually look like all of them can compete near the same level, which I think is very, very good. So yeah, I'm happy with it, Bates.
Greg, what you think?
I think we are. No, I really do. I think we are because I think that this format rewards top 4 teams and teams that can place high. So because we only have 4 teams that we can send, our placements were like an 8th, a 2nd, and an 8th. Because if you're able to place high and you're able to play G2 and GenG, you should be rewarded by going to the major. And I think that teams that were inconsistent in their placements by not being able to get top 8s or not being able to get those top 4s, they don't make it. Does it suck for GenG or does it suck for Space Station that they had to play GenG? Yeah, it really, really does. But at a certain point, like once you get to that Saturday bracket, you got to figure something out to beat those teams. You have to. And if you don't, then you're right. It's a problem with the format. Like I was telling Satthew the other day, I think the format is like it's outstanding at getting the top 8. But once you start getting the top 4 and you're doing single elim, that's when the format starts having problems because look at regional 2 with our bracket. We knew when we were in that lower bracket that whoever came out of that, M80, Luminosity, OG, and NRG, that they were going to have a good chance of the major. So knowing that and taking advantage of that was huge for us. But then you look at the top part of the bracket, you're like, whoa, GenG, G2, Space Station all up in there. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, no, it is tough, but I think everybody's all in mind. Base, did you give your take? Did you think this NA's best 4?
Without a doubt, 100%. No questions to be asked.
No questions to be asked. All right, well, I'm going to ask a different question because there's a lot of teams that didn't make it. So which teams, as the trade window comes up, should be making a roster move?
Matthew, why you get that look?
Don't all
What's going on up there,
Don't all jump
Satthew?
at once. Don't all jump at once.
I hate roster talk because
So do I.
everyone's still like a profession for everyone. But from a slightly different angle, because I think anyone who doesn't make the major in like especially with like the format the way it is, you get one chance to make a move. I think almost every team should, unless you're really confident in that roster. I think almost every team should consider making a move and consider upgrading and consolidating a bit more. I think there's guys out there that like really can play into that major spot and that major role. I think guys like Eris is like a huge prospect. I know his offseason was weird, but like if you're an SSG, if you're an M80, if you're Shopify, if you're any of those guys outside the major and you feel like you have any doubts within your team, like I feel like you should
Yeah.
look at guys like that and really take a look because it's cutthroat. We know that. We know, especially just with everything. If you aren't making majors, you're kind of losing a lot of value in your team and your roster. So yeah.
Any
Yeah, I
team
think-
that didn't make the
Oh, go
major
ahead,
should.
Greg.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
No,
about
go
that.
ahead. Go ahead. You good?
No, I was gonna say any team that didn't make the major should at least evaluate their roster. At least like sit there and think, what is the current status of this roster moving forward? Is this a major roster? And if you do believe it's a major roster and you're a move away, then do it. But it's tough because if you start saying, hey, like we're gonna tinker around with tryouts and everything, and maybe those tryouts don't go the way you thought they were, then bringing back that same team, that's horrible. So
Yep.
you should definitely evaluate it, but it's difficult to do that with how much time is in this trade window.
Yeah.
And still with like buyouts and maybe there's some unsigned players, and like I think Satthew was saying, Eris is obviously an extremely good talent. I think that every team should look at him. But the other kids, like the kids on Young Whippersnappers and the Snowmen, like you're going into a second split where if you want to increase your ceiling, if that's what we're trying to do right now, why can't you tell me that Skippy, Realize, Reveal, Scribbles, those are all great players. And if you put them under like a good coach and a good system with like the right foundation, I think that you can really have a good chance.
Yeah. And I think also just all those teams should really consider like their trajectory, just heading like as we progress throughout the season. Because I think like TSM, for example, they showed different levels. I think this weekend, going having a strong Swiss and then not strong, but at least like progressing, like compared to previous regionals, and then like beating a strong M80 team, one that I think was underperforming, obviously in relation to their talent. Because going back to the last question, M80 talent wise should have been top 4, but obviously they just fell short, whether due, expectations, nerves, whatever, lack of understanding. But a team like TSM should maybe like consider something like trajectory and see, is a move really in our best, best interest moving forward.
What do you think for TSM?
I would say obviously a lot of the stuff's internal. I think they looked a lot better this last regional, so I wouldn't advise against it, but I would say really think about it more than I'd say some of the teams that definitely stagnated. Because again, if you are like a Shopify, what are we doing? After that Swiss we just had and missing a regional, and we got a top 4. Like, are you really confident moving forward? Again, internally, who knows? Maybe they are. Maybe they figured it out in this, or they will figure it out in this offseason, or not offseason, but transfer window period. And
I think Shopify and Energy are the ones those are the tough ones.
Yeah.
Because it even goes back to like what you guys were saying about the younger players, where NRG tried that initially and then it didn't work. And then NRG's made more roster moves this split
They
than
should
I've
have
ever
stuck with
seen
him.
them.
Did they try it?
Though?
They should have made.
Try it?
They should have stuck with him because I don't think they gave him enough time.
I'm
they
not
were
trying
too quick
to
to
step on
move.
anybody's toes. Yeah.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, Greg.
No. I 100% agree with you, Raul. Like I'm just saying, like you didn't really give that move a test. Like you didn't give him an RLC. You didn't give Frosty an RLCS. Like not even an event. You just said, oh, we're kind of doing, we're struggling in these off-season events, but. Ooh, I mean, dude, he's 15 years old, 16 years old. Like, give him a second.
Yeah, let him collect his composure. I think we've seen on the other side of the pond, Europe is so willing to give younger players these chances, and in North America, younger players are starting to prove more and more that they can compete, especially up here in these Swiss stages, and they're going up against these top teams, looking like they have potential, but we're not giving them chances. We want a win now mentality. So if we want a win now mentality, then you're done. You're done. NRG, blow it up. You're done. Shopify, blow it up. You're done. These rosters are not working. They need to be fixed. If you're not anywhere close to competing at a top 4 level right now, then you need to be looking for a change. There's players that are too valuable or not too valuable. There are players that are looking like they are projects to be up and comers and top talents in North America. You got the whole roster of Omelette, Percy making a resurgence, Lion Blaze poking his name through the clouds right now. Zanil is been up and coming for so long. Yeah, the whole young whippersnappers teams. You got the whole Snowman roster, and even a shout out to Chiefs, what he's doing for Poab on that roster. All three of them players look fantastic against some of these top talents.
Yeah.
More now than ever, the young talent in North America is shining more than it's ever had before. And it's because of this open era. They're looking a lot more confident against our top talent. And if you are not, if you're a veteran in this esport on some of these established organizations and you're not getting consistent results, you need to be looking at these young talented players.
Bro, and I like what you said too, because me and Satthew were talking about the other day about how like NA is resetting right now too. Like you're bringing in so many new young players, almost like EU did with the Itachi, with like the Moist Boys, Seiko. Those are crazy names that I just threw out there, but
they were young at one point.
But they were young at one point. But this is the fault of us. Okay, bring in these young kids into a good culture, and foster their growth. Make sure they're understanding the game. Make sure they're around veterans that care about the game and that are, show them how to win. Not just show them how to play ranked twos, not just show them how to like be mechanical. I'm talking about show these kids how to win and give them time. But that's the orgs too. That's the coaches. That's the orgs. That's the players. It starts from the top and it trickles all the way down to the players. I'm just saying right now you have people like, even us with Cheese, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying my team was able to bring in Cheese. We sucked in the beginning, dude. We sucked. But you sit there and you build his confidence up. You keep teaching him over and over here. This is the right thing to do. This is like, it's not just about grinding. It's about grinding the right way. And all of a sudden now you look at Cheese and Cheese is becoming an extremely, extremely good player. But these younger kids need that like mentor to look up to too.
Yeah.
But we're failing in that aspect right now. And that's because we're expecting these 15-year-old kids that don't know how to play Rocket League for years. Like, maybe somebody like Justin has. And we're sitting there like, play this way now. It's hard, dude. It's hard. Help them, foster their growth. We will be a better region because of it. If we can't do it, then we're going to fail as a region forever.
Yep.
Dang, that was deep. That hit me, that last part. But I think looking at OG, for example, I think OG kind of proves your guys' point here a little bit, because besides the pros, from Gibbs's rankings, he sent me the rankings. From Gibbs's rankings, OG was sitting at 4th, and then there was a tie between Dignitas and Rebellion from when the pros did their little power rankings at the beginning of the season. OG is a good example of this, because you look at the players. Com said this. The fact that they made the major was so big for them, because when you look at their roles on their previous teams, they were never like the star.
Right.
Like you have Naps, Nolly, and Com. And for them, they're veterans of the game. They've played all in LAN environments. JNaps, of course, has played world champion. I think, world's grand finalist. He won a major a couple of years ago. Noli's won a major. Com just won Gamers 8 with V1. There's so much talent and composure there that even after being kind of spoken highly of and having the worst opening possible, going out 0-3 in Swiss, they were able to battle back and then keep their composure in high pressure situation. But that's again because they've been in the game so long, they've had that experience. Whereas you think that even for the younger players that everybody's hyping up, they're great, but we've even seen this in Europe. When we were watching Europe, bro, the biggest thing for us was Drolly. Drolly was in his first couple regional events, and BDS didn't do well. We just thought, okay, well, Drolly hasn't really been in these situations before. Come back the next time around, BDS playing so much better. But again, it's just because you have that like system, that reinforcement around you with veteran players who've all been in high pressure situations. I do think that it comes down to kind of that here when you start thinking of roster changes here and now. Baso, you've been pretty quiet. What do you think about all this?
I just believe all these organizations and coaches and players, well, not all of them, I believe a vast majority of them are just terrible general managers, and they need to hire somebody specifically to do that job.
I like that. All
right. I think that's just what it comes to.
Well, you got somebody in mind.
Yeah, there's somebody he's thinking of. Not gonna
I
put
know
on
who you're
blast.
I know who you're thinking.
I mean,
You
I
can
think
just say it.
NRG. I've
Oh.
talked about. I thought NRG has done absolutely. They've completely botched the whole entire offseason. I don't know why. I don't know the specifics. I haven't talked to anybody. I just thought it was a botched offseason for them,
I
especially.
mean,
I think
maybe-
M80 even. I don't understand the M80. I see the players, but I don't get. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
M80 is a good team though. Like
Yeah.
M80 is
just
one of
missed
those
out.
teams that like even on paper,
skill-wise-
dude.
Skill
But even on
wise,
paper, you can see it working.
skill wise,
Something needs to be said
who's the
about their
leader?
bracket.
Who's the leader, Greg? Who's the leader on
Nick.
M80?
Nick.
Who's the leader on the field, Greg?
the
You know you
field,
need
on
an
the
extension
field.
of you. You
But I
got
thought-
yourself, and then you got Reynolds. Who's the leader on M80?
I don't know the inner workings
Exactly.
of the team like that. I really don't.
There is none. There is none. We know 2/3 of players unless Nas is. I know my boy AJ. He's not Reynolds or anything of that sort. I know Jorius. He's also not Reynolds or anything of that sort. I'm just using Reynolds as an example because he's like an IGO. It's not gonna work. Not gonna work. It's not gonna work in my opinion. Go ahead, Matt.
Nah, I see what you're saying about M80. Again, I think they were when they beat TSM. I think we're having a different conversation now. Because there's a tiebreaker being played at that point. Then,
I don't know. Hold on, man. I want to cut you off because I think a team of that caliber, like how we expected them to come out, they should be beating.
No. I hear they should be. But like I don't want to paint M80 as just like complete negligence or ignorance when it comes to building a roster. Because no, because I think there's other examples like I think there's orgs that I think come in and when they make a roster, it seems like, and this goes down like you can go to like much smaller orgs with like orgs that make regionals and then don't do anything consistently. Like you truly wonder who are they consulting with when they come in the scene to pick up a team, because sometimes it's like mind-boggling like that they dedicate any money towards like the roster that they pick up, and that happens a lot in Rocket League. But yeah, I just don't want to. M80s, you're right, talent-wise, top 4 should be every day of the week. Rocket League, obviously, more than talent, and yes, you can ask questions about like how the team was led and how it was formed, and the structure behind it. But they were close.
M80 is the polar opposite of OG.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Nick is a great coach. Nick, I think, put together a great roster. I'm just saying that when you looked at OG, the sum of their parts was way less than like the actual whole picture that you saw. They were so good as a team that when you played against them, like I'm talking about even in scrims, you see the reason these pros rated them so highly because they're frustrating they're frustrating on kickoff, they're frustrating in the demos. They all play off ball extremely well. They all trap you at midfield. It's like they're not going to blow your mind with mechanics, but that's a solid role playing team. When you look at M80, they will blow your mind with mechanics, but could they put it together in those top moments? And I think the answer is no, because you lost on Saturday to TSM, Shopify, and what, Dignitas?
Even the Shopify build, man, question marks. I don't understand it.
But two piece and part is a good foundation. I'm just saying, like, I'm not, and that's nothing against Justin. I'm saying that Justin is a great player, but was he the right fit for that team? I don't know.
He might not be, but looking at the gameplay, Justin was performing. Right. We can't deny that Justin wasn't performing. I think maybe he's not a good fit for that duo, but to say Justin wasn't performing, I do kind of want to go back to M80 and OG, the comparison that you made. I think that they are complete opposites, but this proves that NA values mechanical ability way too much than the players that are consistent on off ball and things that aren't shown and highlighted as much as we need to be.
Yeah.
Which then makes me question all these decisions.
Well, dude, it actually puts in it like, this puts it in a good like picture, right? G2 has 3 players that we all consider mechanical, right? But Beast Mode is a selfless team player. Atomic is a selfless team player, right? But so then all these kids look up to him, they're like, look at the mechanics, look at the mechanics. It's like, no. Look at the fundamentals of what they do.
Matt said you forgot Daniel.
No. No, I'm not saying Daniel's stupid. He's from Cleveland. I know.
He's from Cleveland. That's stupid.
I know. But I'm saying, but those 2 players, like I'm saying, like they have been a part of like extremely like high level systems too.
Yep.
If you look at FK, like the reason FK has great mechanics, but FK, if you talk to any high level person, the reason he's so deadly is because the fundamentals of the game he does at an extraordinarily consistent level. Like I'm talking about, if you want a shot placement top left, he's going to put it there. You want a double tap, it's going in your net every single time. You want to save, he's got you. You want, the off ball play of the demo, he got you every single time. But they look at the mechanics of it and they're like, oh, okay, this is how I have to play. The players coming up, and I agree with you, Orwell. I think we look at mechanics way too much. Like, obviously, you have to have a certain level of mechanics, but you have to have a certain level of buy-in to a team, like they do in EU, right? Let's give them a little bit of credit, but you have to have that buy-in to a team.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's
man,
why
all
that
I'm
KC
saying-
team. That's why that KC team is special too, because it's like you have 3 players that do have that ability,
Yes.
and then they're fully bought into what Fair is preaching over there as well.
Listen,
Where-
man.
Shout out Gen G too. Shout out Gen G. Shout out G2. I think both those teams are good examples of.
Shout out
You
LG.
can't just look at. Thank you. But no, shout out Gen G and shout out G2 because I think those teams right there they're good examples of like the right way that NA is building teams. Seriously.
I like it. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much in line with a lot of stuff. I think it's risky at the same time, right? You only get this one window really to try to make a push for Worlds. So whether or not you do make these changes is going to be very important to dictate the rest of your season. Not only if it fails, then also you have to think about your player mentality going into the rest of the event.
Yeah.
Whoever you try to replace is going to sit there and just have that behind the back of their head for all the
Yeah.
time. And then, just making sure that people have more structure and then they think out more things like, hey, maybe we should probably boot camp before it gets to regional 3, all these different things that
Maybe my ego is just too high. It's inexact science. I don't know. I just find it to be so much more obvious. But also, I find like the NFL draft and NBA drafts to be so much more obvious. But they have people who invest millions into that, and they still somehow get it wrong, where they draft like Anthony Bennett #1 and stuff like that. It just makes no sense. So
No, you're right.
Dude,
It's none of this
you're
is
right.
guarantee.
So
None of this is
like
guarantee.
it's just like inexact science. I'm not in the position.
You don't just pick the right guy, but
Yeah,
you-
so-
But Rocket League is weird too, where like I don't know if you guys agree with this, but personality matters, guys.
Yep.
Like you guys bring somebody into a team, and if they don't fit the culture of what you're trying to do, that could go terribly bad. Because I'm not talking about when you're winning, everything is good. I'm talking about when you're losing, if they can't talk it out and they can't like even just communicate with what they want to do, it's going to be a failed team. And there's a couple teams that I think have a problem communicating with what they want to do. But the most important thing is you have to be able to fit into that team. And I don't think we put enough pressure. Like you said, there's no science to it right now. We can sit there and say, oh, this person plays first man more, second man. Okay, fine. It might work for a little bit. But I'm saying that with us, when we brought Cheese and MB fit together like peanut butter and jelly. It's not something that I could put into words or like into a science. It was just, I looked at them and I said, wow, that is a duo. Like just period. So then when it starts working together and they're able to play together every day, like you can see the chemistry building.
I agree.
Well said. Before we jump next topic, I'm gonna throw a random one at you guys. Thoughts on the grass boost?
ban it.
The grand boost meta. The greatest
The
boost
grass
meta.
boost meta.
Listen, if we can ban YMC, we can ban the grass.
What?
That's one way to put it, I guess.
insane.
That is-
That's the most insane
That was
statement
the
I've ever heard.
greatest in
That
this
is insane
comparison.
statement.
That's so out of pocket.
All right, let's talk about YFC getting banned. Let's go. Next segment. Young
Where
Buddy
to be
Clan,
found.
nowhere to be found. Limitless made Copenhagen. Let's take a look here really quickly at the bracket on SSA.
Oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble.
You got- What the heck?
He's
I-
like,
I-
"Yeah,
that DQ, look at that
can feel
DQ.
it.
Oh, yeah, of course, there's the DQ here. Can we throw to the clip of Rise calling this out? Rise was our first touch last week, and we got the audio for that. I believe, yeah, this is the audio clip. Can we play that? Oh, SSA, Limitless or YMC?
Limitless.
I'd go Limitless
I'm going
Limitless.
Limitless. I'm going
because I
Limitless.
think Young Money Clan are now under too much of a spotlight to be able to troll series, and that's on me.
That's on you. That
That's on
is
me.
indeed on you.
I'm looking
But I
out
like
for
it,
I'm
though.
looking out for the South African brothers over there. I'm looking
That's
out. for
right. Yeah, that's the whole audio of the clip there from Rise. He did say that YMC would have to snipe Limitless to make Copenhagen, but then afterwards he was like, well, now that I've said it here on the Rocket League channel, probably shouldn't do that. And they did it anyways. Yeah, so now YMC banned from a year from the RLCS. We got to break down the situation. Matt, I mean, initially, what were your thoughts when you saw this?
I kind of kept track of the situation. Obviously, after like Regional 2, everyone knew what would have had to happen for Young Money Clan to make it, and that was beat Limitless in the quarterfinals, and of course then snipe them in some sort of way. It's disappointing because I'd seen a little bit of background on their situation, and there was like a potential org investor. They flew him out to and sorry if I get it wrong, but like Reunion Island or Reunion or whatever. And they were gonna play there, see how it goes, maybe beat Limitless like on their own ping, and then for the next split, if they actually look good, then they can do this throughout the entirety of the split and fly there every regional, and then you have real competition. But they literally just had to, I think, just not troll, play it out, see how it goes, and they unfortunately chose the sniping method, and it backfired. It was blatant. There was no hiding that. I've seen those 3 players play the game before. There's no hiding from the fact that they trolled, and they did it on purpose. Everyone knows that. It's completely blatant, and the ban is fine. What it is.
Greg, don't get yourself in trouble. Will, what are your thoughts, man? No, you just not saying nothing. You just not gonna say nothing. All right,
Guys,
we go.
They should be banned. They should be banned. But
Okay.
I want to ask you guys a question.
Oh,
I'm just gonna ask a question.
Okay, ask a question.
If you guys were YMC and this was NA, okay, let's pretend this is NA and it's G2 at number 1 and Gen G at number 2. If you're Gen G's coach, are you not thinking about how to line up against G2? Because you're trying to get to the major for 1 spot.
You're saying there's 1 spot.
Right,
I'm
you're
saying there's 1 spot. Yeah, I'm saying there's 1
Hypothetically
spot.
speaking,
Hypothetically in
of
NA,
course.
let's attach some works to this. Okay?
Yeah. Hypothetical. Okay.
I don't know, because if you're playing for the major, I understand you're playing to win, right? But I also understand you're trying to get into the major. There's a weird world where I understand, because of the format and the way it's broken down into the single elim portion of that second part of the tournament. I don't think this is a surprise. Should they be banned? Yes, but I'm saying that being in that situation, I see how they come to that conclusion.
But you lost to them twice in grand finals before that, though. So it's like,
but it's not the point.
what? No, but I think that in its own proves that Young Money Clan, or Limitless would be the better team, no matter what happens in the 3rd regional. Yeah, there's a point system to say, okay, now since Limitless loses to Young Money Clan in a quarterfinals, now that's valued over like both of those regional wins because of just the way the points works. But if Limitless beats them twice in 2 grand finals, and the only reason they don't make it is because they lose to them in a quarters, I don't know.
It's garbage. No, you're right. It's garbage. But I'm saying that, but if you're trying to get to the major, that's what Young Money Clan had to do. And I'm saying that it's unfortunate for the format that that's what had to happen, and then they get banned for it. Should they have got banned? Absolutely. I'm just saying that I also understand from their POV how we have to do this.
I get their POV,
yeah.
but I don't know if I don't even think it's unfortunate. Again, they lost twice in 2 grand finals. They shouldn't be there. That should be Limitless every time.
Yeah, I think I'm more in line with that, just because I feel like going to majors and again just kind of competing with the best in the world. You want to get there by making sure you're the best in your region. Like that's usually that's kind of how things go. But I'm old, so it's different. Like I play games. We weren't really worried about the bracket like that crazy. We were just trying to beat everybody.
Yeah,
so that's how I feel. Raul, Bates, thoughts?
We talked about this a little bit on FT After Dark, but I think, well, they 100% deserve to be banned. But I also believe that a lot of people would have done the same in their exact situation than they're actually admitting. I think a lot of people are saying that they wouldn't have done it, and I think they're actually just delusional and lying to themselves, because I think if you're put in that situation, you're 16 years old, and you don't have a lot of logic morally, I guess, on what's correct or what's right or wrong. You think you're doing what's best for you
Yeah.
in that current moment, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
that's exactly what their mindset was. So just to like bash and harp on these kids that we should never criticize and things of that nature, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of a touchy situation, and I really just I think they made a mistake, and they 100% should be banned. And
Yeah,
that's kind of an unfortunate situation overall.
I'm
Yeah.
100% with you.
No, that's fair.
I think it's a fair world to say that the rule might just need to be relooked at.
Like where you can play from wherever. Or,
Where you can
That
do
way-
what you want, you control your own destiny. I think that's fair. That's what I'm talking about.
It's just
peop-
tough for those minor regions. I just think that having that little spots with the format the way
Yeah.
it is, I think you like I said, I think it
provides
just
that.
leads into this type of
Yeah.
behavior. You're gonna see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I think
'Cause you
think
saw it
that
last year too with
no.
Mina.
What'd you say?
Is it-
Last year at Mina?
Yeah, wasn't there like a situation where Rule 1 could have sniped?
Yeah, there
or
was a
Falcons could have
situation,
sniped
but
Rule
then
1?
but then I think they got debunked or something. It was
It did.
Is it, I mean,
it was something.
isn't there a world? I get continuity between the regions, but like at the same time, if they're fighting over 1 or 2 spots or whatever, isn't there a world where maybe we actually look at a different format for them just to like prevent
Oh,
situations
are you
like
saying the league
this?
play?
Well, I mean, maybe whatever.
Yeah, you saying. Listen,
No, not necessarily.
everything don't have to be uniform. I agree.
It doesn't have to go into league play, but looking into formats where it's tougher to set yourself up to play a team like that in quarterfinals and have the matchup like that.
Potentially, I think that'd be good. I think that could be a potential option.
Ugh,
I would just say,
don't
I would
know.
just say that. I mean, according to the rules, the rules have banned it, and then they went against the rules, and that's the TOS right now. That's
Yeah.
currently stands. So they're gonna get a punishment for that. That makes sense. He's in the bright line. You can read that yourself. There's no arguing, no discussing, and no debating that. But then people say they cheating. I guess if you go against the rules, are you cheating? I don't know. That's a weird dichotomy that I haven't necessarily wrapped my head around. But in terms of, and that's what I talked about on a little bit. It's just that to me as a competitor, I'm doing what's best, and I control my own destiny, and I'm not hurting anybody in like an ethical manner, in my estimation. Now, some people I think disagree with me on the ethical aspect of it, and I think they bring up the competitive integrity part,
Mhm.
and somewhere underneath that general framework, to me is a little bit different. Me going 3-2 assist other teams in making more money, and me sniping limitless assists other teams making more money. I'm helping other people. I'm not hurting anybody else. I'm not hurting anybody else. 'Cause I'm trying to get to a spot where I need to be to then
Well, you're
get to
hurting
the ultimate
Limitless.
goal. I mean, yeah, I get hurt limitless, but I mean, that's the point of the. To me, like, there's also a question of what's the point of the third qualifier at that point if I can't stop
Right,
you from
right.
making it. But then also people are saying you have the 2 times to beat them prior to that. And once again, what's the point of third qualifier? I'm confused in that aspect for the minor
Yeah.
regions, but not the minor, for the newer developing regions. I just don't see it. If you might, is that just if you win the first 2, you should just automatically be in there for that?
No,
Because
you
we
still
all
have to be consistent. You still have to win.
but let's be real
third.
here. There's only like three teams that can. I mean, Limitless hasn't been beaten by SSA team. They're not going to be beat by SSA team the whole entire year.
They haven't been beat by anybody the whole entire year.
I know, but I mean, yeah, they're not gonna be beat by any EU team that plays on EU ping is not gonna beat them. Luminosity is too talented. Those are all too many great players. The only time that they're ever gonna be challenged is if one of these European teams does what YMC does and comes over. That's
Unless
so
it's like
it's
a European team that plays in like a current regional, I could see that them beating Limitless then on their ping. I could see that being possible.
But you guys see the point though. Like the point is that the format for like you said in NA, it's hard to do. Like you can't just sit there and we can't just troll against Dignitas and we're going down 0-2. We're like, oh, okay, now we're gonna reverse sweep them. It doesn't work like that. But I think in SSA with one spot and because it's a developing region, the quality of teams, could be thrown off a little bit. It could happen. The point is that the format allows it to happen. And I think I'm not
any
trying to
format
just
not technically allowed to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Any like
It
I think any
could, it
format. I
could.
think it's just like the fundamental principle.
It
It's
is. You're right.
it's that differing subjective principle of I'm doing what's best for me. And to me, as long as you're not like harming somebody, in like obviously a physical, ethical way or something like that. Like you're just losing games. You're just losing
if you-
games.
It is tough. Dude.
If you have a bracket, if you have like a double limb bracket, and not saying this is correct, but if you have a double limb bracket where the team, so say Limitless is 1 and Young Money Clan is 2, then you can't like run into that situation. And like without like Limitless losing earlier than they should, and then Young Money Clan's like, okay, now
Yeah,
we lose to
yeah,
fall.
but
That's like
true.
that's the
Yeah,
only
if-
occasion
yeah,
where that works.
that's the only thing that fixes that. And Limitless, and it wouldn't matter what they did because they would have faced them in the grand finals, and Limitless would have had more points than YMC no matter what.
Right.
I've been keeping eyes on the chat. Definitely some conflicting opinions here, which means that this could be a much more blown up conversation. Johnny says in chat, base, they're literally harming another team's chances
Right.
unfairly.
Yeah.
I don't know how
They
I'm
are.
harming your chances unfairly. I don't see that. You playing
Well,
the same
because
games I'm
you're
playing.
not being
You're not
honest in your
pla-
competition.
Yeah, and you're not playing to your level throughout the entirety of the tournament on
Yeah.
purpose, and falling to play
You're throwing.
you're throwing, and then playing a team earlier than the bracket intends you to play them. Not because of just natural competition, but because you are purely throwing. So I mean,
That's where.
But
That's
what's
where
the
it becomes scummy.
problem?
I'm just saying-
I'm see, like to me, I'm getting to the conclusion though. Where's the conclusion in that? Where's the harm?
The harm is
I
in
didn't
competitive
play-
sportsmanship. It's sportsmanship, and just for the fairness of a tournament, if you want to be
Yeah.
taken seriously, you don't just throw. If we were talking about the playoffs and the NBA Bates, and we had teams throwing to get specific seeds, I'm talking about blatantly throwing.
People do that.
People do that, right? By sitting players. We don't have that luxury in Rocket League. What we're gonna
Yeah.
sit MB and put
Matter of
me
fact,
in?
maybe I'll play a sub. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
play
you should've
myself in
played
those
sub.
series. What are you gonna say to that? If
That's
I
not
play
against the
myself in that
rules.
series, what are you gonna say to that?
But I'm saying that you want to keep it honest. My whole point to this conversation is I see the way that teams think about it from like I want to go to the major, therefore I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there selfishly, right? But for the esport and for the the competition as a whole, it's not right to be able to throw these games, to snipe Limitless, even though they won 2 regionals, and be able to stop their run early, because that's not right. That doesn't
Also,
seem.
don't they do that in the NBA primarily due to like injury and stamina reasons?
Every
Injury,
sport does
stamina.
it. NBA and NFL both do it. So I'm gonna count
They
that.
That's what I'm
do- they
saying.
both
I won't
do
say
it,
every
yeah.
That's what I'm
sport.
saying.
NBA
It's
and
for-
NFL both do
Well,
it.
they do it for like draft purposes as well. Like
Draft
they'll
purposes.
throw
No,
it
but
an
I'm saying,
entire
well,
season.
okay, I'm
Seeding.
saying like a team that's trying to make playoffs,
Yeah, they do it for
like,
seeding,
or
draft
has
purposes.
made playoffs and then sits people.
So like, see, I want to provide the hypothetical. Say YMC played a sub and they lost those games. Same way. Maybe without some of the egregious movements. What's the argument there?
Johnny says, Bates, if you are as competitive as you say you are, you should not like throwing being allowed. Throwing goes against
Yeah.
the spirit of competition.
I don't know how it goes against the spirit of competition.
Throwing.
You're controlling your own destiny.
Yeah, but you're not playing up to how you're supposed to play.
But again, this is the problem.
Well, how's
if,
that
if
my
I
problem,
if I
though?
play the game the right way and I win, I should be rewarded. What we're basically saying is,
Yeah.
in a weird world, YMC has to not play good to get Limitless, so then they can play good, and then they can make the major. And I'm just saying that then becomes a flaw. And I think that what Satthew was saying about the double elimination portion of it, where let's just say they do run into Limitless early. Okay, cool. You run into Limitless early, and then Limitless just goes all the way through that lower bracket, and you have no problems. I think that makes a lot more sense to me, because then you can't, and like one team can't completely, screw you over. We're still taking competition, and the best teams will win.
I mean, maybe you just look even at the point distribution, like what a regional win awards.
Yeah,
you
maybe that's the
over
issue.
there.
Maybe that's the maybe
Because
maybe
if they're
that's the
fighting
issue.
for one spot, maybe
Yeah.
you get more points for a win, and then then it's like you really can only miss out if you bomb out and then truly don't deserve to make it. And with Swiss, you bomb out only if you're bad. Like if you like properly deserve to bomb out, because you can always lose one series, but if you lose 2 or 3, then
It's like if
Limit-
you lose 2 or 3 and we take a look at the tape and we just see you, playing silly, goofy Rocket League flips and all that stuff. It just
But why does that
it's
matter
just-
though?
Because you don't do that. You're a player. Like I wouldn't even feel right. Like even if I
It's
just
not
played-
about that. I'm saying why does it matter though?
You know how scummy I would feel if I told my players lose this game? I actually, like, I don't know what I would. I couldn't fathom.
Get all the feel good out there. Get all the feel good
There's
out
no
there. Get all the feel good out there.
Bates, there's no
Feel.
feel good in there. There's no feel good in there. I'm telling you that right now. I would never ever in my life tell my players to lose this game on purpose, because that actually goes against what my job is. It goes against what their job is. That's to me, that's ignorant. But I'm saying that we still have to look at the way that the format is lining this up to happen.
I don't think it's a format thing. I think it's not a format thing. It's a principle thing. I think it's principles. I think I'm in a minority.
And yeah, you have different principles.
Yeah,
I
think I just have I can't get to the harm aspect. I'm not
at that point. It's just agree to disagree. Because
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's a format thing. I just can't get there. I can't. I don't know what's wrong with just saying we ain't, or like just doing what you need to do in order to get to where you're trying to go, in an ethical manner. That's my estimation, though. I don't find an issue with it. I think I'm in a large minority there. So that's why I'm trying to pick brains. I'm trying to pick brains, try to see.
Right,
I really don't think it's a format issue, though.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we've gotten everybody else's thoughts on this take. Believe so. Yep. So everybody at chat, you guys have been letting us know. Let's continue to let us know how you guys feel about the situation as things move on. Greg and Matt, thank you guys for joining us, man.
Wait, before they leave, I gotta ask them a quick question.
Go for it.
What are your opinions on boot camps now that you saw it a couple in NA? Did they work? Yes or no? Quick answers.
It has to be consistent throughout.
There we go. That's one.
Throughout the season.
Putting pressure on a team in the third regional to go boot camp when the goal is win this is insane.
Yeah.
Boot camp
shout out to
all of
OG.
it, or don't do it at the end.
But OG did it. OG did it though, because their org said you got to go do well at this boot camp, and they did it. So
hey, they're built different. You got to tip them for that.
But that's because the players they have on the roster. That's why they.
That's because the players.
They got the vets. They got the vets.
So shout out.
OG got the OGs.
They got the composure.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Greg, any shout outs before we let you go? Thank you so much for coming on.
No, shout out you guys. I always, being on this is like a dream come true. I appreciate all the work you guys do behind the scene and, putting on for the community. So big ups to you guys.
Appreciate it. Matt, floor is yours.
Much love to the community. Love the discussion every time. Love y'all for putting this on. I don't hate anyone for their opinion. Don't hate me for mine, and yeah, much love.
Much love.
Love y'all, bro.
Love y'all too, bro. Toodaloo.
Later.
Toodaloo.
Love you being able to get a little chat in with Greg and Matt, man.
I'm the yappers, bro. I can talk about the SSA thing all day. I gotta talk to Graybeard.
You might have to.
That's next. Maybe FTF.
Greg gotta stay in the Discord.
Because now after that take, yeah, you definitely got some talking to do.
What do you mean? My take's fine. Listen, I got people hitting me up saying I'm in the right.
Yeah, and I got a whole Twitch chat telling you on the wrong.
Okay, that's fine though. I think about things differently. There's a reason I got the law, the G-Town law on my shirt.
No, that's questionable now.
It's not questionable.
Yeah, I'm starting to question.
It's not questionable at all.
That's fine. I got our next guest is also kind of questionable too. At the same time, he's been all over the place doing some wacky team streams here and there, but I love him to death. Let's bring in Mr. CJCJ on the show. CJ, how you doing?
Hello, everybody. How we doing now, Bates? How can you be a lawyer then condone throw? It is actually illegal to throw. How can you just point to your Georgetown law top and then condone throwing? What are you on about?
He's been waiting.
You can get sued. You can get fined. You can go to jail for throwing in sports, in esports, in anything. Like what are you doing? What's the mindset?
And you need to explain to me why all these people in these sports haven't been getting sued. I tell you, it's been going around for the last 50, 60, 70 years.
I agree. It has been. Does that make it right?
The law must not be that strong or something, or it's either people get around it somehow, some form of fashion. Because there's gonna be people throwing in the NBA probably about come March. We're in March, so in March the people will be throwing for that number one, increasing the odds of number one pick. NFL they do it all the time. So I don't know. Listen, I can talk about SSA thing all day. That might have to be a whole entire podcast.
Hey, I think it does.
I can talk about that thing all day because we can try to get to a conclusion.
We might make that a chalk special because I saw Rizzo and Johnny in the chat, so that's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of passion.
TJ, how you doing, man? Talk to me. Catch me up.
I'm a bit flat. I know we're going to get into OCE. We're going to get into things,
right.
But you guys know I've been running a couple of team streams, the Muffin Men, the Chiefs, and on the same weekend we had heartbreak for both teams. I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I'm doing good. I've been a bit of Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide for this split. Not sleeping, just watching every single region I possibly can. And I know you guys already talked about NA. All right, but I feel like there was a little bit of PR in there as well. Do you guys seriously think, I want to ask Chad as well, do we think we've got the top 4 teams in North America at the major?
100%.
Not are you happy with the major teams?
100%.
Do you think we've got the top 4?
100%.
You thought that was PR?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, I think
Why
it was.
did you think-
I
why
feel
would
like
you
there was
think it
some. I
was
feel
PR?
like everyone was kind of like, oh yeah, it's okay. We're all happy. But yeah, come on. So the three of you,
saying no.
100%.
Say the Muffin Man.
Now people are
So
saying
you don't think Space Station? They lost
Nope.
7 times. Let me tell you, they lost. Let me tell you, Tiva, they lost 7 series this split. 6 of them were to GenG and G2. I don't
That's
think
great.
there's no other team, 3rd or 4th. There's no other team outside of GenG and G2 that had a record like that were that consistent. And I think it's just obviously the format didn't do its job to get. I don't think the format did its job to get the top 4 teams. I'm not saying who should go out.
You think SSG top 4?
100%, 100%. Yeah,
Man, I talked about FT After Dark, man. But see, that's why I didn't need to really talk about it. 'Cause I didn't want to rehash my argument. But I got to rehash it just for you. SSG, sure, you can blame. I mean, it's a little bit of format, I guess, in an aspect. But I mean, it's not all format. They control their own destiny. They're bad in Swiss. They do poor
LG
against.
went to round 5 every single Swiss of every regional, but they didn't get GenG every single time in the quarters.
and when
So
they didn't get
you can't say that, but then other teams didn't really control their own destiny unless they were rigging the Swiss, unless they were doing a young money
No,
claim.
they weren't rigging the Swiss. Listen, SSG wouldn't have played GenG and G2 so much if they didn't go game 5 against so many other teams. So I guess you could say LG got a little bit more, got a little bit luckier than SSG in that if they went game 5 with somebody, they didn't match up against GenG or G2. But either way, when you're playing a team, and if you're a real top 4 team, legitimately, like bona fide, no questions to be asked. And I think that's when people bring up SSG, they're quantifying that team as that, they're quantifying SSG as being underneath that threshold. Then you shouldn't be going game 5s with Akron. You shouldn't be going game 5s. I think they went game 5 with somebody else as well in qualifier 3.
I mean, but you say that, but it's not like OG. Well, OG looked.
And then they got
pretty
swept by
nice,
OG.
But it's not like LG looked better. Like you can't just cherry pick and say, oh well, SSG should have beaten GenG once. They should not have gone game 5 against some teams when like LG did the exact same thing and lost to, if not worse teams. So I think you're like cherry picking for one, but I think LG just had as many bad losses and just had as many easy wins to get through. I don't think it's as clear cut as just like, yeah, that's the top 4 for NA. I think
you'd be more confident with SSG in the major than you would LG.
Well, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure about that. And that's why I think the question needs to be changed from, as I said, it's not, you can be happy with the top 4, but I still think from the NA split we had, I don't think you got the best performing.
Who's your top 4?
I'd have
SSG.
I'd have OG in there and SSG over LG.
No,
Maybe
I don't know how you came to make this argument, and then you said you're not sure, CJ.
Well, I just think SSG should be in the 4. And I think that when you look at the again, this is a
they got
format
swept by
discussion. I don't want to
OG.
get into it. Well, yeah, I know OG looked good in that 3rd regional.
I don't want no excuses though. And they're tough. Like I'm saying, like you keep giving excuses when they play somebody. When they play somebody that lower, they get slapped.
Listen, I cannot help myself but to look at LG's runs in the Swiss bracket. They played G2 out of 15 Swiss matches. G2 was the only team they played with any merit at all, apart from they did beat OG, I think, in 5 in one of them. But apart from that, it's hard. I know
OG played SSG once. I think they went 5.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So you got SSG and you got they lost to G2, but then I mean, do I have to pull it up? I don't want to get back into
Listen,
this.
We talk about for about 5 minutes because now you got me. Listen, I'm about to break it down for you.
Listen. I don't want to rag on. I don't want this to be a rag on LG because I think they're a good team. I think they're going to go okay at the major. It's not going to be like a Dignitas last season going to the major and getting walked on. But let me walk me through LG's matches. Okay, and chat, let's all listen. All right, let's all listen. All right, so round 1, regional number 1, NA. This is LG's Swiss run. All right, plot twist, win. G2 loss. Muffin Men win. Dignitas swept, loss. NRG. So they beat Plot Twist, Muffin Men, and NRG to make the top 8 for the first regional. Okay.
Okay.
Regional number 2. They went round 5 again.
Hold on. Then Tell me who SSG played that time.
Okay. I'll back it up.
Yeah, back it
I
up.
could do it. I got it right here. They play-
Okay, yeah, go on.
So you be LG man, I be SSG man.
Okay.
SSG played Pirates on a Boat, swept them. Young Whippersnappers 3-1. G2 they lost 1-3, and then they already played Rebellion, which went 5.
Who made top 4 and they beat them? Interesting. Okay.
Okay, let's go next.
Okay, next regional. Luminosity's run. This one's one of my favorites. They played Incorrect. Are we talking about who they played or who they beat? We're going to go through all 5 games or just
I
We
wanna
can go
all
through
five,
all of them.
CJ.
Give them all.
Okay, all 5. They played Incorrect. They swept them. They lost to SSG in 5. They got swept by NRG. They beat Leftovers and then beat Omelette. So the 3 teams they beat was Incorrect, Leftovers, and Omelette to make top 8.
Omelette's pretty solid.
What?
Keep
SSG.
going.
Okay.
SSG went 5 with Akron, went 5 with Luminosity and won that. Lost to G2 again in 4, and then went 5 with Pirates on a Boat, the team that prior to they swept.
And then LG beat OG to make top 2 in the bracket. Go to qualifier 3.
Okay.
Yep.
You want qualify 3?
I do.
Okay. So far, how are we thinking? Everyone? All right. Anyway, let's just get into it.
How you gonna ask us and
Number
they keep
3.
going?
Number 3, Luminosity again went 5 in the Swiss. They played. They lost to Dig. They swept the Muffin Men. They beat Matey in 5. Good win. I'll give them that. They lost to Omelette, and then they beat Boulevard in 5. So the 3 teams they beat: Muffin Men, Matey, and Boulevard to make it through to the top 8.
Okay.
All right, and SSG Rebellion in 5, they won. Lost to G2 again in 4. Got swept by OG. Swept Young Whippersnappers and stopped Dig from making top 8 by beating them 3-1.
Okay. Dig. Yeah. Okay, so Bates, I don't think that's a contest, mate. It is not a contest.
I think it
it's kind of
is.
even.
Because you gotta think.
Yeah,
Yeah, so-
Can we get a 1 if you think LG had an easier run? Can I get a 2 in chat?
LG 4-1,
wait.
the same OG that swept
And then
SSG.
the NRG result, they swept them in bracket in a best of 7.
Well, yeah, but you swept NRG. Is that what are
Yeah,
you saying? You're
'cause-
saying that's a good thing?
Because NRG swept them round 3. They played NRG first round in the bracket, and then they swept them.
Is beating the 10th seed in NA a good win? Like, is that
No.
meriting a top
No,
4 at major?
I am just nullifying the opinion
Yeah.
of calling them bad because they lost to them in Swiss, but then when it comes bracket time, they beat them there.
I'm not saying who they. I don't care about really who they lost to. I just want to talk about the 3 teams you're beating to make it through.
Okay.
When you're looking at other teams, like the runs of some other, I mean, I don't want to call out my boys the Muffin Man, but I mean, look at the 3rd regional. Let's have a look at who the Muffin Man played in 4 rounds. They played G2, LG, Shopify, Matey. It's just like bang, 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 bang. And these guys are getting, I mean, the teams that they're beating to get through. It's just, that's all I'm saying is I think that, I just think that they, some teams got an easy run and you can only beat the teams in front of you. So they did that. But this is kind of the ongoing topic with this format in that it's pretty good for finding the top 8 because you get, you get to 5 rounds, win 3 before you lose 3. But to find the top 4 teams, single elim, I don't think it works. I just don't think it works. You're not finding the teams, especially for the 2 seed regions or the 1 seed. We talk about SSA, but especially for the 2 seed regions, it depends on what side of the bracket you end up on. And then look at Space Station Gaming. Let's have a look at the poll real quick. There it is. It is who had the hardest Swiss? 91% to Space Station Gaming. Thank you, chat.
But how do you? What I don't understand is how can you say that when in Swiss stage, SSG always played a team that they beat in the first Swiss stage. There was Pirates on the Boat, Young Whippersnappers, and Rebellion. Regional 2, they play Pirates on the Boat, round 4. Regional 3, they play Young Whippersnappers. They play Young Whippersnappers and Rebellion. These are teams that they already won against. So how is this like a harder Swiss? They're so familiar with the teams that they're going up against.
Oh, we can't do the figure them out meta. That's not. We can't say that, can we? If you beat them once, you're going to beat them all the time. No. I think you've just got to take it on. And again, this could be a format. This could be a whole nother discussion, but I'd love to see, I think I don't know what it's called. There's a format of the Swiss where wins and game wins, you get basically merit based on the quality of the win. So if you lose in 5 to G2, that's a lot better than losing in 5 to another team. I think that getting losses or wins based on, I guess, an ELO or an MMR, some sort of ranking, will help the Swiss. Yeah, the Buckholes, I don't know how to say Buckholes, Swiss. That has been used in other sports and stuff. And
Did you see anything at SSG when they played GenG that said that they're a top 4?
I bet who else has done anything to GenG or G2? Everyone's only taking one game off them.
Don't dodge my answer. Don't dodge my question.
I don't think I saw anything, but I don't think I saw anything from an LG or from OG. Yeah, I just don't think any other team outside the top 2 was competitive against the top 2. So I don't think you can cherry pick saying SSG didn't look good.
You don't think LG could have competed against GenG the way they were looking the first two qualifiers?
Not really. No, I think that, the qualifier, when was it when they got top 4? Was it 2 or 1?
It was 2.
Oh, top 2, sorry, when they made the final. I mean, OG looked terrible that day. That series was, I watched some of that. I mean, the NRG sweep, did you guys watch that game? Like, I did a review of it on stream. The Luminosity NRG series, that playoff was disgusting. That's when we're talking about NAs in the bin. During
Luminosity
that
was closer to beating either G2 or GenG. And the one time they played 1 to 2 teams, G2 they went 5. Then SSG was, and of multiple times they went up against G2 and GenG. Luminosity won game 5 against G2. SSG never pushed GenG or G2 to the distance once, and they played them 6 times. I don't want to hear this nonsense about SSG being better than LG. You have shown me nothing. You show me nothing for 6 weeks that proves that you deserve to be there.
I don't think SSG have had a chance to show anything because they run into GenG every single time in the quarterfinals.
What do you mean? That's when you're supposed to show something.
Be one of them. If you can't beat G2, no.
It's like I saw RawGreg earlier. You just have to get to the quarters and figure it out. But LG didn't have to figure it out. They got NRG in the first round and 4-0'd them because they couldn't hit the ball. Like, I mean, it's just different. You can't say, just beat who's in front of you when they're playing.
I don't want to hear no excuses, man. You play both of these teams are combined 6 times is what you said, and you've lost every single time to them. You got too much tape on them. If you actually are a major team, and you really believe that SSG is a major team, and you can't even compete with either G2 or GenG, then what the heck you going to do in the major?
There's no one else beating them. GenG and G2's the only team beating GenG, and GenG's the only team beating G2. So, like,
if we're bringing up Swiss, technically Amedia have beaten GenG multiple times.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
what on
I
Amedia?
don't want to hear that.
Joris in Swiss, we can forget about that. Joris in Swiss. Joris in Swiss.
If you can't beat one of these teams out of 6 chances, you don't deserve to be there. I don't want to hear no excuses.
I just don't, again, and I think this comes back to the format. Look, we don't have to talk about it, but I just think that you don't find the top 4 teams in this format. With single elim, you're just hoping you get on the right side of the bracket. Swiss does a good job of finding the top 8, but then seeding out of the Swiss can be a bit random because seeding's, Swiss is a lot of different matchups. Yeah, you might find your top 8 teams, but how they get there, the order they get in can just be ridiculous. And I think that's why, I think SSG got unlucky. You can say, they went to 5 against Akron. You can say whatever you want, but fact is that LG went 5 every other time as well, and they got better runs. So it's like they got unlucky.
Final question for you, CJ. SSG and LG both make the major. Who performs better at the LAN?
Oh, not SSG.
In your opinion?
It has to be
clear SSG. It has to be clear to you. It has to be SSG for you. You have no.
Well, I would like to think they would. Yeah, I would like to. I just don't think we've seen. They see LAN's different, but that's what I'm asking, guys. I'm not saying do we have the best 4 LAN teams. I'm saying do we have the best 4 NA teams from that split? And
would that be the best 4 LAN teams?
Well, that's different. That's complete. That's like saying that's like saying I'd rate Turbo and LAN. Like, it's a different question. That's a different question. I think that SSG.
When Turbo was dominating on LAN, he was also one of the best one of the best players online. You can't perform online. You definitely ain't gonna perform at LAN.
No, I disagree with that. I think
he elevated. He played better at LAN, but he was also still great online though.
Yeah, but again, it's the same thing now. Teams can elevate on LAN. I think that, Reddles has a different factor on LAN because everyone's mech comes down and Reddles all of a sudden is on par with them. So now we can start cooking. It's a little bit different.
That is
everything. Satthew Satthew said it himself. The mech gets a little bit worse on land. Everything slows down, and that some other teams step up. You know, we see the glue players suddenly getting mechy. You know, some things start happening. But I still think, getting to my point, that's kind of, I think that's another question, whether who's better on land. I think that the format didn't perhaps find the top 4 NA teams, in my opinion.
There's a whole bunch of flopping and flopping. Don't you agree, Roll? You kind of flop all over the place.
I'll back in. I think SSG can. I think SSG will do pretty well at the land.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Stand on business.
I'll stand on business. I'll stand on business. Absolutely, they do better than LG.
He got us off. He got us off topic.
Absolutely.
He got us off topic. I just had to hear
that's all I wanted. Yeah,
SSG.
sorry. I just need to get that out. I just thought that.
That's valid.
I thought maybe you guys had, you guys were just, everyone's just being nice in the top 4 segment and stuff. But clearly, no, you guys, I'm the only one. So they might have thought that. But, happy with the top 4. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, we go back to last week. I did have SSG making it. I do think that there is some merit there to that discussion. But they didn't. And yes, you could probably blame it off the bracket, but I think for a lot of us, we wanted to see just a higher level of competition. Like, I would probably be more in line with you if SSG took GenG to like 7 or even close to 7. But it
took him to
just
6 one time.
Yeah, like if that for me, it's something like that. Now, again, we go on this whole conversation about like strength of schedule and 2, but I mean, OG's not a bad team to be playing at LAN either. They're all very good players as well, and they've all either won a major, or no, they've all won like a major event. This is not like a big drop off here. Both teams are very close. So thank you. But CJ, we can talk a little bit more NA here. We'll go back to regional 3 a little bit, because the question is bootcamp debuff. Multiple teams in NA failed to prosper at boot camps. Can we get the Corelli tweet on? Corelli ended up making a tweet basically just kind of describing how things went. So in a bootcamp results-based analysis, at the very best, I'd say it's inconclusive. OG undeniably put up their best results, while M80 maintained status quo. Otherwise, I think Dignitas, Rebellion, and NRG offset any of the positives from the other teams. I didn't see any players wearing full matching tracksuits, so there's still hope for NA. Thoughts? And then he has a little marker. Red's bad. Yellow is status quo. Green is good. There's a list of people who did boot camp and the results there. And then there's a list of teams that have not boot camped. CJCJ, I want to go to you here. Why didn't the boot camps work?
Was this boot camping for the split or just that weekend? Because that was just the weekend, wasn't it?
This was just this weekend.
I think that's different though, isn't it? Like if you're boot camping every event, you see, I guess, we talk about what EU did. It's different than going to a week, because you've got to adjust the different setups, I don't want to say time zones because you're all in NA, but you just got to readjust. You might be sleeping in it, you're sleeping in a different spot or whatever you want. There's just a lot of different factors that go into just flying in for one weekend to try and do a regional. And I think Satthew and Greg said it themselves that you cannot do that. If you want to perform at your best, you can't just fly in for one event. You rock up the day before and think all of a sudden, different PC, different setup, just completely different environment that you're going to be comfortable straight away and playing your best. So I think that's kind of it's a very small sample size for the boot camps. I'm still a massive believer in the boot camps. I don't know if you, Raul, as a coach, what you think about them. I know the FaZe weren't really the boot camp guys.
Yeah. We weren't the boot camp guys, but I think the one time we did boot camp, we played second. So I think boot camp is beneficial. It gets all the turmoil in between the teams. Like, you could discuss bad or situations that are bad for the team, or any sort of controversy that you have going on within the team gets brought out into the light a lot more, especially when you're face to face. You get to resolve a lot of conflict, and I think it's super healthy for players to do that, because a lot of players and teams that don't really get that outlet, it goes underlying for a lot, and it causes a lot of problems for teams. So I think boot camps are extremely healthy, but I agree with you, CJ. I think it needs to be consistent throughout the entire split.
Yeah, I think for me as a player, outside of my first World Championships, we boot camped every event. Obviously, it's bigger, it's more important in OCE and things like that. But even for regionals, I think it's people probably overlook that aren't, I guess, in the inner circle, that haven't experienced it. The mental side of things, and more just like the connection with your teammates. And you're trying to like almost build a bond outside of the game that you don't get when you're sitting there just playing online and clocking in, clocking out for scrims. So I think that was like the biggest thing as well. And it's so much easier when you're in person to talk about any issues, because when you're kind of online, you can just mute and, you can be tilted. You don't really know what's going on. And things can come across the wrong way. But we had so many like awesome sessions even when we had really good results, or before Sweden, like with Renegades, we'd have some of the worst days where like we've got people in tears on the team and stuff, but it's all there. You can all vent and have this session as a team. And we came out better for it. And these were things that have built up throughout the online split that really couldn't come out unless you're in person. I think that's like one of the biggest advantages, is just being able to talk through everything as a team in person, and you can hug it out afterwards, actually physically, not online, and you can just build a better bond and connect. Because I think that's like the biggest thing about Rocket League. Like, you can talk about structure, play styles, whatever you want, but like the game is so instinctive. You have to trust your teammates, know exactly what 100%. They're going to do, and that's like almost outside of Rocket League things in a way that you just don't get if you never see them. Like, if the first time you see them is at a major, when you qualify, or at a LAN, instead of boot camping online, I mean, you're just giving yourself, I guess, you're handicapping yourself compared to the teams that are boot camping. I just think that side of it is huge, and that's what you're not going to get from just a weekend of rocking up, playing a regional. Oh, we're boot camping now, so let's see if we win. No, that comes from like being together for 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, and really just ironing out everything, talking as a team, being open, and building that bond. So I think that's why, for me, like as a player, that was huge.
100% agree.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Greg about this separately, and I know like Luminosity was a team that was thinking about doing it, but they didn't do it because of comfortability. They thought it'd be better if they just did it at like just played at home like they had how they've been used to playing. But there's also like a bit of like added pressure with that, especially if you have like org suits that are there, and then you have all of these other people watching over you. Like your team comes through. All right, seen the conversation everybody's been talking about on Twitter. Let's boot camp here. We're going to fly you here this weekend. Make major. It's just like, now you're there and you're in this environment with your team that, one, yeah, you got to build a team chemistry. 2, you got people looking over you after every matchup that you probably never even had in a Discord call or anything like that. And 3, you have the added pressure of the matches too. I mean, this is something that you got to ease people into, not just do it at the end and then you see the results of it. It's just not really too feasible. And some teams didn't really have like org guys behind them, but again, it's just still that change of environment. Like, especially if you've been playing most of the season in your room, just comfortability thing.
I mean, if the org is having to tell the team, like forcing them to boot camp, then I think you've got the right team. And I think Garrett kind of spoke about this when we were talking to him about just like the NA mindset, like, and that we were talking about boot camps and how he said, oh, some players like just flat out won't do it. And so that's just why we don't boot camp. And I'm like, if I was a player looking to pick up someone, I'd be like, that'd be the first thing. Like, can you, like, how much are you willing to commit to improving as a team and being the best you can be? Like, that's a prerequisite. I don't care how mechanical you are, if you triple flip resets or whatever. Like, if you can't boot camp and want to commit, then I think that's just like a prerequisite for me. But I guess that's not, we can talk about NA culture and stuff like that. I just think that's so important. And you see it with EU, like, it's kind of just, oh, you're on a top team, you're going to the facility to play. It's just all the top teams are doing it. It's expected. Whereas in NA, for the most, well, I guess even for the top teams, GenG didn't boot camp, G2 didn't boot camp. It's just kind of like, well, if they're looking up to those guys, and this isn't a diss on those guys, the top teams, because they're obviously playing really well. But I guess if all the players coming up are seeing these guys that aren't boot camping, they're like, well, why should we do it when G2 aren't doing it, or GenG? So it's kind of like a cycle now that it's hard to, to develop those good habits for NA. It's kind of like you're looking up to the players. They're not doing it. Why should we do it? Clearly, we don't need to. But I think it's massive. Yeah.
I don't even think they should be looking up to G2 and GenG. I think they need to be looking up to KC and BDS.
Look
and
across
the region
the pond.
The region that's been dominating lanes as a recent.
What do you think, Bates?
I mean, I ain't really got no. I think boot camps are beneficial. It just got to be in totality. Like Greg and Matt said, you do it one time, you're just changing up the situation. Basically becomes like a LAN situation in a way where you're just not used to the setup as you just set up. But then, but you're not as used to the setup. And LAN is more equal. Everybody's not used to setup, but you're not used to setup for this. But everybody else is still used to whatever they're playing on. So that's just that. But I did like our teams attempted it, so it was good.
Yeah. Heard you on that. All right, CJ, let's move over to your side of the pond here. Let's talk
That's what I
about
want to talk about.
Oh, boy.
OCE. Let's talk about Power because Power goes back to back to back. We got a clip. Can we roll that clip, please, Ben?
Is where champions are made. The Major. This is where champions are made. The Major. It was never meant to be easy to. Pretty much. Okay. Okay. We're cherry picking clips here. I mean, Daz. Daz, compose yourself. I understand that you're wearing the full GenG Mobile One Racing merch, but on the weekend you were a Chiefs Esports Club supporter. You're in it co-casting with me, supporting the team broadcast, and now you're just ripping in on us. I mean, come on, you saw the gameplay. You've picked out the worst moment of the entire weekend to show the main Rocket League. This is unbelievable.
Okay, first of all, you had me casting on a delay. You had all that chat go say that it was on time. I casted on like a 3-second delay, and she just like, yeah, chat, this is right on time, right on time, and everyone's just laughing. So a little bit of that, but you're right. I was a Chiefs supporter. Well, to be fair, on this show, I'm not a Chiefs supporter. On that stream, I'm a Chiefs supporter, but on this show, I was a Pioneer supporter. Everybody else was a Chiefs supporter though. Last week, they all had Chiefs making it. They wanted to see Gus. And it didn't work. It didn't work out. They ran into Power. Power's going to be going to the LAN. They won back to back to back. How well do you think this Power team will do at LAN?
Oh, I think that they will be expecting top 8. That would be their pass mark, making it out of Swiss. And they're looking really good. The question is they're almost looking too. I'm worried about their play style on LAN because it is very aggressive. And if it comes off, they could beat a lot of teams. It almost reminds me of back in the day, the Sam sort of play style that can be really good, but also they can lose to us. When look at OG Furia coming in the open era, but. I think they can make top 8. I think I said I made a statement prior to this weekend that I think they could beat any NA team outside of G2. Well, GenG stepped it up on the weekend, so maybe I'm worried about GenG a little bit. That is the first matchup as well, so that'll be a great little litmus test, if you would, for the OCE region. If Power can take GenG to 5 or beat them, well, it's game on. But if they just get absolutely stomped, we might be in trouble as a region for this season. Yeah. But they look good. They got the sweep. Torsos is now attending with JNAPS, the most lands ever, overtaking Garrett. So shout out to him. He's like the LeBron of OCE Rocket League. I don't know how he keeps. He's like 40 years old. I don't know how he keeps doing it. He's been there since season 3 making lands. He's made 400 lands now. So it's credit to him. He's in peak form. And the Chiefs does. Unfortunately, just not getting the job done. Again, we can talk about format all we want. But the format, if you get on the wrong side of the bracket, if you get on the Power side of the bracket roll, you're just in trouble. You're losing the semis, and then the other teams get to the grand final. You get the points. That's tough.
I want to ask you a question, CJ. Do you think because the beginning of the season? Hold on, let me just set the stage. The beginning of the season, I had so much going in my ear about Gus. I heard nothing nonstop about Gus because he hit some crazy mechanical play one time. One time, and he got hyped up.
Well,
so now... Go.
Well, just the fact that let's recap what you said, all right? I didn't say Gus is the best player in the world. You said, I don't even know who that guy is. And I said, you got to put some respect on his name. And I think that he did earn that respect, albeit he didn't make the major. So let's not take it too far. But you didn't even know who he was.
Well, it wasn't only you though. I was saying that Gus needed to make international. I want to see how Gus performs internationally. So this leads me to my question. Do you think next split that the Chiefs can make a run against this Power squad?
Against I thought you were going to say make the major. I'd pick them to make the major. I don't know. Power look really good right now. No one's touched them. They've dropped one game. Is the most they've dropped in a series. So like 4-1s in the grand final. I don't know how many games they dropped the whole. I think it was like 5 or 6 games, like individual games, the whole split. Like that's how dominant it is. No one's ever perfectly swept OCE. They look really good. But Gus the Bus. Let me tell you about Gus the Boss. If he makes that major, he's going to dominate. He's a Mechie kid and he's a young gun. He just needs to crack it on land, make his first major, and the sky's the limit for him. I think Chiefs could do it. They could get close to Power. But we talk about the boot camps. If Power can boot camp, that's another question about these lands. That just widens the gap, doesn't it? You know, if they get a couple of weeks head start, they get to go to the land, they get to play international teams and then come back. They might be too good.
Are they the second best team in OCU to you? The non-biased opinion. Are the Chiefs the second best team?
Oh, it's close. And the only reason that Pioneers are going is, again, I think Chiefs in the first regional, they lost in Game 7. They were 3-1 up, and it was the biggest. I don't know if you guys saw this. It went all over Twitter. It was the biggest throw I've ever seen. They were 3-1 up. They lost in Game 7. But Game 6, they were a goal up, or I think, on 0 seconds. 2 players missed an open net and then got counter-attack 3-on-1 air drill bump on 0 seconds. So they threw that. And then that one series, if they'd won that and moved even to the semi-final, they would have been in a playoff with Pioneers for the major spot. So it just goes to show how important every single little spot is. But I think they're probably the second best, at least in scrims. They're the only team betting Power in scrims, if you take scrim results as anything. So they maybe should have been there. But Pioneers, you know, we love Fiber. We love the boys over there. Obviously Scrub, who's still on the Pioneers. Over there as well. So, yeah, they'll be a good team to watch.
Okay. Real quick for the boys, how well are we expecting Power at land? Bates?
Yeah, boys. I mean, I'm just a fan of Gemma, so I always will support Gemma. Power. It's really hard to tell with these OCE teams. I'm trying to gauge off what CJ. CJ, do you think this is the best OCE team to ever go to a land?
Oh, well, how far back are we going? Like, you know, Chiefs. This is the best looking OCE team since Chiefs season 6. Yep.
So better than y'all in Worlds?
Are they going to go better than we did at Worlds?
No, I say, are they better than y'all? Like better than Renegades going into Worlds?
Yep.
Okay,
Definitely.
We'll see. I take that. I got to rely on CJ the expert. Of course, he knows his region. I don't know. I think Rocket League's just really hard, man. Like I think they go round 5 Swiss probably. But I mean, at that point, I mean, there could be a lot of people in that round 5 Swiss. CJ says they could beat LG.
Definitely.
Maybe they could beat LG.
Definitely.
Maybe they could beat OG. A Furia, a Falcons, a Complexity. Like, could even be like a G2 or a GenG in this situation. Like, there's a lot of like really great teams that they would have to play.
You think they could beat G2? Are you just saying this?
No. I'm saying they could potentially play G2 in round 5 or something. Okay. Yeah, man. I wouldn't pick them to make top 8. I wouldn't pick them to make top 8. I think that's tough. Yeah.
They need one of those Luminosity Gaming Swiss runs. You know what I'm
saying? I just think it's really hard for a team to make top 8. I really do think. I think Power. I mean, listen to what CJ said. Looking at the record, look at how they dominated. That resume speaks for itself, and they have the experience. But then you also really do think, and they sent 4 really great teams. I think EU's about to send 4 really great teams. I think Fury and Complexity are really, really, really good teams. I think Falcons and Rule 1 are also really, really, really good teams. So I mean, like, it's just it's tough. It's tough to say. I wouldn't bet on them making top 8. I wouldn't bet on that. I do think that they can make round 5 though. And if they play like an LG or OG, maybe who EU4 is, something along those lines, I think they have a chance to be in a team like that. But I think it would have to be one of those like teams.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement. I think round 5, but I do think that since they've dominated this far, if they do make it to top 8, then I think this puts OCE on the map because I think this is the most stacked major that we've had so far. And I think it's going to be something that you're going to have to pay close attention to moving forward if they do make a top 8 bracket. 100%.
All
You
right.
gotta think
Well,
about it though. I mean, they really could do. They really could play even the best. Because back in like Boston, was it who went Boston? Was it Power in Boston who went against Vitality? And did Vitality even lose or did they really struggle? It was close.
Was it
they-
Vitality?
No, Vitality played an OCE team. I don't remember who, and they either lost or they really struggled against them. They really
up.
struggled, and I was like, ooh, that's nice. That's nice.
Ground Zero
So, I mean,
against
OCE,
Carmine
man,
Corp?
they've been getting better.
Yeah,
Chat
that was
saying
K Corp.
Ground
They took
Zero. Yeah.
Ground Zero K Corp in 5.
Ground Zero K Corp?
Vitality didn't play. Yeah.
But I could have sworn Zen and them had a tough series against somebody.
They played Elevate and that went 4 games.
I
was
was thinking about
3-1.
Elevate. My bad. I'm bad. Wrong region. I know it was like game 2 Forbidden Temple. Vitality was struggling against not NA, not EU, not Mina, not Sam. My apologies, but yeah.
all right. Well, so listen. Speaking of Sam, listen. We'll see what OCE is. We covered OCE pretty well here, and we'll see how they do at LAN. Let's go Sam here real quick. Going a little bit over our cable schedule time here. Chat, you're welcome. Let's talk about Furia right now. Furia Complexity qualified for Copenhagen Major. How far do we think Sam is going to go? These are the standings. They made it out on top. I think a lot of people were expecting it, but there was some comp in Sam. So was a little bit close towards the end, but Furia Complexity going through. Raul, thoughts on these two teams? What are you thinking? Hello?
Hello? Oh,
Oh, I
We
don't.
I
lost
think
him.
he thought we were done with the show.
Hello, Raul?
Yeah, I had to go grab my puppers. I didn't know what he was barking at.
All right. CJCJ, thoughts
Yeah.
on Fury
My
Complexity.
bad.
How
I
Sam will do in the
think-
major?
yeah, I've watched it. Does some replay analysis and work of these top 2 teams, Fury Complexity. I think Fury will look unbelievable. I think they are going to. Well, I don't want to put. I think the sky's the limit. I'll say that for the major for them. They look so good. So they're so aggressive. I think it's interesting as well that like they have 2 very different play styles, Fury and Complexity. Complexity feel a lot more of that structured team that probably is more suited to LAN, but Fury just have that peak. Like they are so fast to react to each other. The pass plays, the mech. Yeah, I think they're the best looking team that Sam's put out in a while, and Sam have looked pretty good recently, of late or last season as well. So it's going to be scary. I'm confident. I think they'll do really well.
What is really well to you? Top 8?
Yeah,
think they-
if I keep saying top 8, then there's not enough room in
Right.
there when you really do the numbers. But I think they can. I think they've got a better chance of top 8 than Power. I reckon. I think they're a better team than Power, and I think Power's a good team. So I think yes, top 8 for Furia.
Gentlemen, are we in line with that for the most part?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that this is one of the best through and through South American teams that's ever been presented. And outside of that one Complexity series that they lost, they came right back and bounced back, and started beating Complexity again. So, yeah, I think I would be in agreement with a top 8. I think top 4 is going to be a little bit tough, but the potential is there. So I wouldn't be all too surprised if they do squeeze into the top 4, but it would still be an upset for me personally.
Okay, we'll see how well Sam do. Let's take a look at APAC real quick. A lot of people thought Gladiators were going to make it. They were wrong. Gladiators found Elevate in the grand finals, and it was Elevate who ended up taking the win. I believe you can look at that team, LCT, Kevin, and Spinks. Spinks is one of the youngest players out of APAC. He's 15 years old. He'll be going to the Copenhagen Major with Elevate. Also, be sure to check out LCT's Twitter. I believe it's not LCT, but it's at not LCT. That's all I think. And to see the team's reaction. Very, very fun team reaction out of them. And we'll see if they can keep that energy going landwards. And then lastly, for Mina, Rule 1 joined Falcons in Copenhagen. This will be the first time Mina sends 2 teams to a major. CJCJ, talk to me about these 2 Mina teams.
Yeah, I think. Well, it was impressive to see for obviously Falcons have just been that team for the entire split, but But I mean, finally getting 2 teams is just going to do wonders for that region. I mean, they're not just fighting for one spot, but Falcons, I know Rule 1 got close. I think they took them to 7 in the second regional, but you see it again there. They've just broadened the gap. A sweep in the final regional just probably shows that they're a step above. So you have to favour them. T-Base, I don't know how much Mina you've been watching, but
I've watched the whole thing.
Wow, what do you think now? I think you're probably more qualified than me. I only watched the grand finals.
Yeah, I've watched the whole thing. I think this Falcons team is really good. I think that Rule 1 definitely played, in my estimation, the worst they played the whole entire split this in qualifier 3. I think that they went 4-1 against Falcons. Well, they lost 4-1, I should say, in qualifier number 1. But the series was really close this time. I really don't think it was. And Rule 1 really just struggled really the whole entire process, even in the qualifier aspect stage of it. Prior to even getting to the Swiss and then the bracket, they were still not on their best game. Falcons, I think there was that question mark at the beginning of the split. Maybe in like my eyes, maybe most people would disagree, saying Falcons should just be clear which team was really like better. But I think Falcons have really shown that they're better at the moment. They're fast, they're quick, they play great defense. And in Rule 1, they lack like they lack that it factor right now. You really expect Amit to be adding that pizzazz. He hasn't been giving it as much, and it really just comes down to Nupo. And then Kyla just plays really, really passive. Johnny has an excellent video on that on his YouTube. If Chad hasn't seen it, where he talks about he juxtaposes Khaled versus somebody. But and in that video, Khaled, he just plays really slow. He's not being aggressive. He's really playing passive, and it's really hurting, I think, in aspects of Rule 1. He's always played like that, but now, given that people are even more better than offense, even more proficient, even more clinical, Rule 1's got to really up their offensive repertoire
100%.
in order to compete against Falcons.
I think
and the best of the best.
Like, I think just play style wise, if Falcons are having an off day offensively, mechanically, that's when Rule 1 can get close or step up. But just looking at the replays I've seen, Rule 1 relying heavily on counterattacks and defense. And I guess I don't know how much, obviously Caleb plays a large part in that with his positioning. But if Falcons are on, like, offense always beats defense if offense is really on. But if they overcommit, that's when Rule 1 really capitalized. But clearly that last regional, you saw peak Falcons and Rule 1. That's why they look probably even worse. Even if they might be playing well, just their play style. If you're playing against a team that's really on mechanically and with that much firepower, you're just going to get found out. And that's what happened in that third event. So Falcons looking good. Rule 1, though, it's a land play style. Again, we talk about counterattacks, playing good defense. That can really work.
Where's the Bezos?
My bad, my mic was muted. We'll end up seeing Rule 1 and Falcons at the major. On me. Chad, I was getting ready for our next segment here because we're going to be going through this one really quickly. So we have Mina locked in. We don't know Europe yet, and that's what we're going to end up getting to, which is why I got my green screen up. Hello, wow.
Oh, hello.
This one, welcome to Data with Daz, of course. We're going to sit here and talk about a couple of scenarios here for EU. I need to make sure this is all cool and clean for all of you guys, and let me check. All right, definitely need to zoom up. All right, first things first. This is Team Vitality. Don't worry if you can't see it. Zoom it in a little bit more. Okay, they clinch major here with a regional win. They also clinch major with a tiebreaker, or they at least have a tiebreaker if they finish second. So top 2 is kind of where we're looking at for Team Vitality here. You can see the point totals here up on the side. You can't see my finger, it cut off, but you know what I'm saying. Vitality sitting at 18 points, tied with Magnifico. BDS, Gentlemates, Oxygen, a lot of teams haven't really made it yet, so let's kind of talk about them, right? For BDS, top 4. That's all they really need. Now, of course, if they lose out top 8, maybe they get K Corp in the bracket or something like that. They need Gentlemates to finish top 8 or worse, Magnifico to finish worse, top 4 or worse. Same for Vitality, and the Oxygen not to win. They only need 2 of those things to happen. So very likely that could happen there for BDS. But of course, if they want to get at least a tiebreaker, they finish top 8. Gentlemates, almost the same, a little different. They got to get a top 4 here. Everyone's looking for that top 4 for Gentlemates. And again, if they finish top 4 and 3 or more things happen, with BDS finishing bad. Wait, that might be a typo, D-Reg. This has Gentlemates on their own thing here. But let me see. Magnifico finishing third or worse, Vitality finishing third, top 4 or worse, and Oxygen not winning. So some of these situations definitely are going to be repeated. Again, Magnifico, same situation as Vitality. Literally, we're just changing team names around here. If you're looking at Oxygen, you're an Oxygen fan. They got to win the regional to clinch major. If they finish top 2, they need basically a lot of other teams to not win in order for them to clinch. Again, Vitality not winning. If BDS finish really low, or if General Mates finishes top A, because again, it's that points race. They have that 1 point there where they're so close to Vitality and Magnifico. So they need a little bit of magic, need a little bit of things to help them out at. Now, there's a lot of other teams that have other situations where they can win. This is a big running for the most part, where Belly Gold needs a win and some help. Endpoint, same situation from them, need to win and some help. Same with Forward, same for Redemption. You notice how there's not much change here in this graphic. It's because the situations are basically the same. BDS, Gentlemates finishing really low, and same for Magnifico, Vitality, and Oxygen. Those are the teams they're trying to catch up to. For those who are Moist fans, they need a lot of help. They need a regional win, Gentlemates to finish poorly, Magnifico, Vitality, and Oxygen to lose in top 8 in order for them to clinch major. And similar situations here. We'll have Wild. Wild need all the help in the world, even if they win. Same for Top Cougars. And then if those of you guys who are looking at Team 3, a win and again, just those top 4 finishes for Magnifico, Vitality, and Oxygen will do it for them. That's where we're sitting here EU-wise. What do you guys think?
I don't want to be boring. And at the risk of being boring, I just want to say, I just don't think that anyone outside the French top 4 are good enough, to be honest. I think we need to see a massive upset. Although I know Vitality is hard on points. There's a lot of people around the mark. There's a lot of teams around the mark. I still like Vitality is still, in the playoffs, just losing to, they're losing to K-Corp. They're losing to BDS. I think when push comes to shove, when it gets to that playoff, when it gets to single elim, I don't know if anyone's good, unless again it gets down to brackets. Swiss gets a bit funky. We saw Gentlemates and Vitality go 5. I don't want to say it again, Bates, but it could happen.
He's back on that.
We could get a Mickey 4th team in there.
Oh my god! You don't think Oxygen's good enough?
I don't think Oxygen are good enough at the top end. No.
What have you seen from Gentlemates that makes Oxygen that much better? I've heard you agree with me.
Great point.
That floater from heaven.
Can we pull up the EU first round matchups while they go? Go ahead.
It's a great point, and I think that a lot of us, including myself, are hanging on to that first regional from Gentlemates where they looked fantastic. I thought BDS nearly looked like the 4th team after the first regional, and gee, they proved everyone wrong with the second event. So you're right. Honestly, Gentlemates, maybe they're not that good. Maybe they just peaked, and that could be, I think, well, I know they've got 3 more points on Vitality. I don't know what you think, Raul, but I think if any team, I'm nearly more confident in Vitality over Gentlemates, even though Vitality haven't looked too crash hot either.
I mean, I would agree with you. I think it's kind of hard to see any team outside of the top 4, the French teams, competing at this land. Even Oxygen, they look like they are on a little bit of a resurgence, but I have Vitality bouncing back and taking that 4th spot.
So you've got Vitality making it. Who's your 4th team?
Gentlemates. BDS, Gentlemates, Kate, Carmichael, and Vitality. The French rosters.
Okay, so that's your top 4. CJ, you're also going with the French top 4?
Yeah, I just think all the other teams around are really good at beating the teams around them, like Magnifico. They're tied with Vitality on points, but then we're kind of like, they get to the semi-final, they get to a quarterfinal against a French team, we're like, come on, do something, and then they just lose 4-1 or 4-0. So I just think that, these teams are really good at sort of beating teams around them. The Swiss is crazy in EU as well. I'm not sure what happened last weekend with Vitality and Gentlemates just tossing games to random teams, but I've got the top 4 French teams. I'd love to see like Belly Gold make it. It'd be crazy to see Speed back at a major. So I'm all for an upset, but I think we'll get the top 4 French teams.
I was right last week. I'm gonna be right this week. Give me Vitality, BDS, KC, Oxygen. Those are the top 4 teams in EU at the moment. They're all make it. Guaranteed.
Okay.
Oxygen in that 4th spot.
Oxygen
What did you
3-1
see from
Genomates and Swiss.
Oxygen in the semi-final?
Semi-final?
Yeah.
What semi-final got to do anything? What I see when they win against Genomates?
In the Swiss?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look pretty good. And I think that the Swiss was just.
Didn't Oxygen play BDS? That's what they lost to in the semi-final, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
BDS had the number that week. I think BDS is just better than them at the moment, but we'll see. I also think that BDS invites. I also think that Vitality, Carmine, and BDS are better than everybody in that region. Kind of same thing along with GenG G2. I don't think Oxygen's crazily better than Genomates right now, and so like they are pretty even. But I think I just have more confidence in Oxygen at the moment. Genomates has an advantage of the floater from heaven, bro. The floater from heaven has blinded everybody. has blinded everybody, and it's given them an opportunity. They have the balls in their park. They got performed. But if I see Oxygen versus Genomates, there's no guarantee that's gonna happen. But if I saw that series, I would pick Oxygen. And just in general, I got more confidence in Oxygen making it. So I'm gonna go Oxygen.
I disagree, but
Dang, all this for Magnifico to take the last spot. That's
you know that's
crazy.
not gonna happen. So let's
But like it could. That's the
They
problem.
got the points. Yeah.
man,
They
I
got
mean,
the points.
it
could
but
happen.
rosters with, I mean, we gotta call it how it is. Rosters with Atomic on it have been looking flaky when it comes to
whoa, that
important
ain't been his problem though. He's been good. He's been good.
I mean, he has been.
He's
He's
always been great, bro.
I mean,
Bro,
there's one constant variable, and it's Atomic on the team. So
that man's always been good, bro. Don't put that out there on him.
I'm
man.
not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not good.
What are you
just
saying?
The team doesn't perform. Like when it comes down to the moment, the team doesn't perform. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying Atomic's not good. He is good. He's great. Team just don't show up.
I'm going with Bates on the Oxygen one though. I like Oxygen. I feel like they could they can make a surge. Like they've been getting better and better as time's going on. Whereas Genomates, they start off with the hot streak, but haven't really been able to keep up that momentum. We'll see what happens. Of course, I think Genomates definitely valid claim. But yeah, EU always ends up getting crazy around Swiss time. So who knows how that bracket's going to end up. But that's it for us. We've gone 15 over our time slot. You're going to want to tune in to this weekend to see the top 4 teams EU send. And then we'll come back and see if that was the top 4 teams EU sent. Then we can talk about brackets and this, that, and the other all throughout that time.
When's the next Chalkcast?
When is the next Chalkcast, CJCJ?
Well, probably next week.
That's a long time from now.
And yeah, we had a chalked yesterday. So next Tuesday we do it on Tuesday maybe. I don't know. We're a bit more floaty than you guys. You guys are kind of locked in to the schedule. We're a bit more airy fairy. But thanks for having me. Tune into EU as you said, Daz. I'm sure it's going to be crazy. I think the fact that this weird schedule having just EU on one weekend, I think we're destined for craziness. So I'm ready for Belly Goal to make the major. I'll be watching that.
Let's go Speed.
Let's go Speed.
Sir, yes, sir. CJ, again, also congrats to you guys on Chalk. I saw the thing about the trip. Hope that all works out well. And
Thank
again,
you.
like you said, congrats on the job well done. Be sure to give CJCJ a follow if you want to hear more yappering from CJCJ. Of course, you can check him out on Chalkcast as well. What's the ad on Twitter? Is it @Chalkcast?
@Chalkcast on Twitter. Yeah, give that a follow. And yeah, tune in.
Tune in. Also, tune in to EU this weekend. It's going to be here on twitch.tv/Rocket League for the NA guys. You got to wake up a little bit earlier than you do for NA. But for EU, you guys know that time slot. So we'll see you guys there. If you want to follow us, you can all follow us on our respective socials. They've been flashing in and out. You'll see me on the Inslate as well. Of course, thank you to all the guests we've had. RawGreg, Satthew, and CJCJ. Always a pleasure. Raul Bates, of course, a pleasure as always. You guys do great work. And the team that is making these First Touch episodes happen, we appreciate you all so. That's it for us. We'll see you next week. 1, 2, toodaloo. Out.